Welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing podcast, the Boxing Debate Arena. This is your host, Mr. BDA, and alongside with me, as always, my co-host, the one, the only King, Bucho. King, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Nice little spooky podcast today, Sunday podcast, in the month of the Chilly Willies, as I like to call it. A very scary month. We had a couple of fights last night. Maybe not the most scintillating fights, maybe not the biggest fights, but certainly something to keep us all entertained. When people say boxing is dead, just look at yesterday. Plenty of fights for everybody. Entertaining fights, a couple of upsets, something we can all enjoy. So thank you again, everybody, for joining us. Want to give a shout out to Jason Bourne, Poe Johnson, Neto, Nesmatic, Trini Cervantes, Jonathan Vickland, and many more to come, I'm sure. I also see our old friend Pavel in the chat room as well. Shout out to Pavel. Let's see what people are saying. Mario G says Billy Joe would have beat Andrade. Too bad he's a nasal spray junkie. Yeah, he's a nasal spray. You're gonna see him in Skid Row. You're gonna see him in the European Skid Row. Cyrilo says, I heard Billy is a trailer park trash. He was probably smoking crystal. He was probably smoking crystal meth since they said he was doing amphetamines. You know, it's interesting. Irish people, they when they're babies, the parents, they give them a little bit. Just, you know, they put some alcohol on their little whiskey on their finger and they rub it in the baby's gums. But yeah, I think in Billy Joe Saunders' case, they gave him a little amphetamines to smoke. This guy, I gotta tell you, he was never the hardest training fighter. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he's taking something nowadays just to lose a weight faster. Shepherd of Sons, shout out to Shepherd, says Demetrius damaged his left hand during the fight. He probably would have taken out Walter if that wasn't the case. Maybe. I mean, look, listen, we'll talk a little bit about Andrade as we go along the show. I don't think he's a bum. People seem to categorize him as such after his tough fight against Colkay. Maybe something was wrong with him that night. I don't know, but I certainly don't think he's a bum. Pavel says, is anybody watching Andrade? I thought he was has-been for quite some time. No. I disagree. All Boxing is back with the same old shit. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about tonight. Sorry, All Boxing. Nesmatic says, Sonder messed up the card. Caravan Trash says Neto. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about what happened last night. Bucho, what do you want to start talking about? Should we talk about Emmanuel Rodriguez? Should we talk about Andrade?
Let's start with the World Boxing Super Series card.
All right. Emmanuel Rodriguez from Puerto Rico.
Should I send the invites right away, or?
Yeah, sure. Emmanuel Rodriguez edges Jason Maloney. Rodriguez 19-0 with 12 knockouts, retained the IBF Bantamweight title according to Boxing Scene, with a 12-round split decision over previously undefeated Jason Moloney from Australia, 17-1 with 14 knockouts. Well, he's 17-1 now after last night. I gotta tell you, I was pretty high on Emmanuel Rodriguez, especially after his fight against Butler. I thought he was sharp. I thought he's skilled. He goes to the body very well. And I was thinking, okay, this guy might just be the dark horse of the division. I don't think he can beat Inoue, and I don't think he can beat, what's his name? Jesus, my mind. Already. This is how it's starting. This is what I hate about this late night podcast. I already start losing my mind. Zolani Tete. I don't think he can beat Tete or Inoue, the two favorites in the tournament. But I thought, okay, at least maybe he could give Inoue a tough fight, because he's going to be fighting Inoue now, based on how the brackets are looking. And that's what I thought previous to this fight. But then as I saw him against Moloney, you know, credit to Moloney. He showed up. Classic Australian fighter that he doesn't have a lot of world-class speed or world-class power, but this is what you got to do, folks. This is the lesson of last night: stamina. We saw it with Rob Brandt, who upset Murata. We're going to talk more about that later on. And we saw it with Moloney. He was always one step behind Rodriguez in that fight, but he came in extremely well-conditioned, and so he lost the early rounds. But by the 8th round, when Rodriguez didn't have that much steam left, or he was starting to lose steam, Moloney was still right in there. And actually, he started to increase the pace. So maybe you got to give Moloney credit for making Rodriguez look a little bad here. That being said, I have to rethink Rodriguez's chances against Inoue, because Inoue is the type of guy that's going to put it on you from the beginning. And if Rodriguez folded based off the pace against Moloney. I can imagine how he's gonna handle with the pace and the punching power of Naoya Inoue. Bucho, what were your impressions? If you have the time, I don't know if you're done with the invites, but
Yeah, I'm done.
yeah, what were your impressions of Rodriguez against
Well, I
Moloney?
had Rodriguez winning the first 7 rounds, like clearly, and it was a complete mismatch till that point. Then I don't know. I guess Rodriguez started getting tired a bit, and Maloney, he never stopped trying what he was trying to do there. I mean, it's not like he was putting a lot of pressure at the beginning, but I think once he realized that Rodriguez was more stationary and not throwing a lot of counter punches, then Maloney started to maybe get some confidence, and I had him winning like 3 rounds after the 8th, but it wasn't enough to win the fight. Some people were saying that, oh man, he almost got Rodriguez out of there in the 12th round. I don't know if that was the case. I think there was a lot of grappling going on, but there was a split decision, by the way, which was very surprising in my opinion, because I had Rodriguez way ahead. So I don't know what the hell these judges were looking at.
Well, you know what I think it was? I think it's because when these guys let their hands go, that's all you got to do sometimes in a fight to sway one of the judges or the judges. Just let your hands go, and one of them is going to bite. One of the judges is going to just that's it. That's what I tell people. Show up in incredible shape and just let your fucking hands go. You might not feel like you won the fight, but maybe one of the judges or maybe two they'll see it that way. You never know. But a lot of credit, man, for Maloney. I mean, this guy was very, very well conditioned. But now, as it pertains to a Rodriguez versus Naoya Inoue fight, how would you see that one going?
I see Inoue knocking this guy out. There were instances where Rodriguez exchanged hooks with Maloney, but Maloney just didn't have the precision or even the power to hit him. But if he does that against Inoue, then it's lights out, in my opinion.
Yeah, man.
Basically, I'm saying Rodriguez is going to make a mistake at some point and get caught.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, because I think in terms of skills, he can certainly hang in there with Inoue. The thing about Inoue is he's not just a puncher. He's not just like a guy that walks through you. He can do that against, or he has done that rather, against the lesser skilled guys he's fought. But you saw when he fought one of the best guys he's fought so far, which was David Carmona, who almost beat Carlos Cuadras on the undercard of Golovkin-Jacobs. Like he pushed Inoue a little bit, but then in the late rounds, Inoue just took over and almost stopped him. And that's a very tough guy in Carmona. I think that's the thing against Inoue. If you don't have world-class boxing skills, speed, or power, it's very unlikely that you're gonna beat him. And I think that's the case with Rodriguez. Solid all around, but I think he lacks that physicality. I think that's just it. What do you think?
Physicality,
like power, speed. You know what I'm saying? World class speed, world class
power. He's well balanced, man. He looked like when he throws his punches, he's always in position. So I like that, as opposed to Moloney, who was kind of looked like American when he's moving around, right? But I don't know. I just think his defense is not all there. Sometimes he gets into exchanges when he shouldn't, and he's open. And when you fight a guy like Inoue, I mean, I don't know, this guy, I call him the Golovkin, man, of that division, of the bantamweight division. So
the Golovkin. Yeah, there's some guy.
I see a knockout there, man. I don't think he's a bad fighter, man. He's not a bad fighter. And I don't think it has to do with physicality. I think it has to do just with, mistakes that he has to work on at the gym.
Yeah, that's absolutely. You're right. You're right. It might not be. What I'm saying is that it might be because Inoue, I think, is just as skilled. I think both guys are pretty well evenly matched in terms of skills, but I just think Inoue, he can afford to get hit against Rodriguez. Rodriguez can't afford to get hit against Inoue. And by the way, there's an email here that I'm reading from the BDA mailbag. HR27 Baltimore zip code. All right, that's a weird name. He says, yo, my man Inoue, he's going to beat everybody. Inoue is the Chinese Mike Tyson, and he's going to be beating motherfuckers up. All right, he's not Chinese, first of all. But I can certainly see why people would think he's just going to run through everybody. He's looked pretty impressively. I'm still not 100% sold. I don't want to jump at the bandwagon yet because I haven't seen him fight somebody that's super world class. If he beats Rodriguez impressively, I'm on board. And if he wins this goddamn tournament, of course I'm on board. But so far, I have a couple of reservations. Shepherd Son says Chinese. Yeah, that's what that's what I said. I don't know. I want to know he calls him Chinese. By the way, we got official boxing scorecard on the line. Official, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. So, how are you guys?
Good, good. Did you manage to catch some of the fights from last night?
Oh, well, no, not yet. The last fight I've seen have been it was Crawford and Benavides. My working schedule is hectic, so I hadn't time to watch it, but I will tomorrow.
All right. Hopefully you get a chance. I'm on the same boat as you. I only got like an hour to try to cram as many fights as I could today. I'm going to be watching them all in the entirety later on. Good thing is Bucho got a subscription to the Zone. I don't know. You said that, right, Bucho, in the chat earlier? Yeah. All right. So, yeah. So I was watching a couple of the fights via Bucho's generosity. And so I was able to catch the Rodriguez fight. I couldn't watch the Andrade fight. It was there was something wrong. It said error ID, whatever. But I'm gonna try to watch it, of course. We got also in the chat room. I mean, in the Hangouts. Who's this one?
Battle Rifle.
Battle Rifle?
Yep.
All right, Battle Rifle, are you there?
Or you can call me Battle Raphael.
Battle Raphael. All right, I'll call you Battle Raphael. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good, good. Did you catch any of the fights last night?
Yeah, we watched them pretty much all of them, except I just didn't watch the Murata and the Brandt fight. I tried to do the ESPN Plus free trial, and I had activated it when Terence Crawford fight. So I ended up not watching the fight because I had just deleted the I had just canceled my subscription.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't see that one, but I've seen almost every other fight. I've seen the Maloney fight. I've seen the Inoue Dodiko's fight. I've seen the Andrade fight. I've seen basically all of them.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. So what was your impression of Rodriguez versus what's his name again? I always forget this guy's name.
Maloney.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Maloney. Okay, I call him Mahoney. But yeah, that fight was actually one of the best fights of the night. A lot of people say that was a bad card, and to be honest, I've seen worse. It was just that I think the reason people thought it was so bad is because the undercards it was so many undercards, and I think it started at 5, and then Andrade and Walters didn't start till like 11 o'clock. It was like 6 hours of undercard fights, and they were very lackluster. So by far the best card was Andrade versus the Walters guy, and I'm not gonna try to pronounce his last name, and Maloney versus Rodriguez. That was the best fights of the night. And I heard Murata versus Brandt was good, but I didn't see that one. So
that one was good. That one was good. The upset of the night.
I heard it was. I heard he busted up his eye and stuff, made him look foolish.
Both guys looked like they had a rough night of eating pussy. Their faces were marked up, and of course an upset. Really, I mean, we all love upsets here in boxing. I gotta tell you, because we were talking about Inoue versus where he's going to be fighting Rodriguez. And by the way, official boxing scorecard. Did you watch the Tay-Tay's fight from 2 weeks ago or a week ago?
No, I haven't watched it neither.
Okay, because that one.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I was just gonna. Okay, go ahead.
No, I was just trying to say that that's another fight that I'm hoping to see soon, tomorrow or maybe in 2 days.
It's a good indication of where Tay-Tay is. I mean, look, you had Inoue scoring that, like the guy from Baltimore said, he's a Chinese Mike Tyson, and he knocks people out in 1 round, 2 rounds, and then you look at Tay-Tay. Fighting from the outside, if you don't go at him, he's not going to throw that many punches. He's content to just box you from the outside. So he's not doing things that are as impressive as one-punch knockouts. But I got to tell you, I was watching his fight against, what was his name? The guy, weird name, Mikhail Aloyan. This was a lose-lose fight for Tay-Tay because he's considered either the number 2 or number 1 guy, depending on who you ask, in the bantamweight division. And he takes on a guy that only has 4 fights, 4 professional fights, but he had a very deep amateur pedigree. And it was a lose-lose situation because he fights this guy. If he knocks him out, people go, well, of course, he was going to knock him out, this guy that only has 4 fights. And if he struggles the way he kind of did in the fight, it's even worse. So he was in a lose-lose situation, but the most important thing was that he came away with the win. And I got to tell you, this fight reminds me a little bit, or this situation rather, reminds me a little bit of Hopkins Trinidad. You remember when Trinidad was the guy that was knocking everybody out, coming up in weight? Everybody thought he was a favorite to win the fight at the tournament, the middleweight tournament. And then you had Hopkins, who was solid, skilled, but not looking as impressive, obviously. Not knocking people out and all that. And all of a sudden, boom, both guys collide, and it's Hopkins who ends up winning. So I think that they don't judge him too much based on this Aloyan fight. That's all I'm going to say about that. What do you guys think? Do you think it's the natural course Tete gets to the final and Inoue as well?
Well, I was expecting to see that match right before the tournament started, so I'd say yeah.
Yeah,
that's the natural progression from a lot of people.
Yeah, I think that's it, man. I mean, who's on the other side? Tete and
well, Donaire against Burnett. That's still coming up. And I want to see how Donaire looks at 118 again. Maybe either he looks worse or he looks better. I don't think he's gonna. Listen, fucking Ryan Burnett. I don't know.
Can he handle? Still on the line there.
All right, Butcher, you gotta stop fucking interrupting me. I see people. I'm taking my time here.
No, I don't know. Because you can see it. You're like, oh, sorry, I couldn't see who's there.
Shut up. Listen, all I'm gonna say is the last thing. Donaire's left hook, he can still crack at 122, 126, and at 118, man, forget about it. I don't think a lot of these 118 pounders, I don't think they've tasted anything near what Nonito Donaire brings. Maybe Inoue, with that right hand, all that. But Donaire's left hook is a fucking atomic bomb. So we're gonna look at that.
I have no faith in Donaire no more. He's been outclassed by so many fighters that it's just. I feel like he's done in his career. He has the power, but almost every single time I said his power is going to bail him out, it didn't. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I doubt any other Donaire is going to be anybody in his career. He moved up in weight, and I think he moved back down 2 divisions. So he's bigger than most competition he's fighting, but I still wouldn't favor him to beat some of these guys, even at 118.
No, I agree. I mean, most people in this, we talked about this a couple of episodes ago, and most people seem to agree that Donaire is shot. I certainly think that you look at who he's been losing against, he's only lost against the top guys. I mean, Carl Frampton was a top guy. And here's the thing about Donaire. No matter who he fights, no matter whether he wins or loses, he always manages to stun people or drop them. He dropped Rigondeaux, he hurt Walters, he hurt Frampton a little bit in that fight. I mean, this guy, if Burnett isn't prepared, he could get iced with that left hook. But then again, when you're basing your whole win on a one punch, yeah, it's not a great outlook for Donaire.
I mean, unless you're a heavyweight, because you probably ain't gonna get back up. So. Mm-hmm.
All right, and without further ado, let's introduce Stu on the line.
I wasn't bad. I told you what's going to happen, Price. I told you he's going to be sleeping. I told you the ambulance is going to come. The oxygen mask is going to come out. I told you he's going to miss the main event. I told you all them things were going to happen.
What's happening, boys?
All right.
What up?
What's happening?
All right. Now we gotta just get something straightened out here. Did you watch the fights from last night, Stu?
Yeah, I managed to watch a few of them. I mean, the fucking card was far too long for me. Far too long. And the problem is, when you put on so many undercards, it's hard to stay awake when it's 3 or 4 in the morning. And I think Katie Taylor was the final straw for me. It was the one that knocked me out. I managed to catch up on the Andrade highlights. I see bits of the highlights. Obviously, I can keep him. I see a bit of the Rodriguez fight as well, because I was having to keep check. You know, I had that on my laptop and I had the other card on my TV, and I managed to save the stream that was the Rodriguez was on. So I got up in the morning and caught a bit of that. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of fights on, but there was nothing really that whet my appetite. Nothing really that I was excited for. I see a comment in the chat that someone said Billy Joe Saunders ruined this card, and I agree with that comment, because I think if we'd had the Billy Joe fight, it would have been a very good night of boxing. But as it is, it was still a good night of boxing, but just nothing special for me.
Well, listen, he's an addict. He's an addict with the fucking nasal spray. I mean, you got to give him... It's more important that he gets clean and he lets go of all that. He's what we call a pharmacy addict. He's not addicted to crack or anything, but he's addicted to the pharmacy. So you got people that are addicted to the Allegra, those fucking allergy medicine. Some people are addicted to Advil. Some people are addicted to nasal spray, which is the most dangerous in the pharmacy. And that's what's happening with Billy Joe. So he has to get better. Yeah, he ruined the card. But come on, his health is more important at this point. I think we can all agree on that.
I have no idea what you're fucking talking about.
All right, then let's move on then, if nobody knows what I'm talking about. I wanted to ask you, what about Inoue versus Rodriguez? How do you see that fight going? You think it's an interesting fight, or
I think Rodriguez is a very, very intelligent fighter. Very methodical as well, but he does everything well. And I think he's got half decent footwork. I think when he went on the back foot in the latter rounds, he looked quite good on the back foot as well. I think he's just an all-round fighter. This Inoue, he just seems to be surprising me more and more. He's just blowing everyone away. I mean, when you see him, they interviewed Inoue, and he looked like he looked like one of them Chinese exchange students. Okay. Fight. I mean, he looked like he should be in one of them Thai bars, not in a boxing ring, but he definitely can bang. And I don't know, Rodriguez is going to be a tough guy for him. He's a very, very all-round good fighter, but Inoue looks like he's something special. So I don't know. I mean, when people are writing off Burnett, I think better going to be a problem as well. So it's a good little tournament. I'm glad Butcho gave me the link so I could watch some of the fights, because I was looking everywhere on the TV screen, couldn't find it, but it was on their website. So thanks to Butcho, I managed to check that out.
Yeah, Butcho spreading the joy all around. And here's the thing, with Inoue, I don't know where you guys stand. I mean, somebody wants to chime in on Inoue, or somebody that we haven't asked yet. I mean, what do you guys think about Inoue? Is he a bit overrated? Do the skills match up to the eye test? What do you guys think?
I think Rodriguez could upset him, but I'm gonna pick Inoue, but I'm giving Rodriguez a good chance, because Inoue's quite wild, quite wide with his punches, and I noticed Rodriguez is just got a nice jab, the straight right. I think he could catch Inoue coming in. It's whether he can take Inoue's pressure and his power shots. That's the different question altogether. Anybody else wanna chime in?
Me, for example, going by the eye test, Inoue looks wonderful to me. I mean, okay, he could tie up his defense, and his team was saying it before Gonzalez fight was supposed to happen. If you remember when Gonzalez when he won against that Mexican guy, the 115-pound title, they asked Inoue, sorry for speaking so slow. So they asked Inoue's team when it's going to happen, and they said in the interview publicly that before fighting Roman, he should tie up his defense. But other than that, he looks great. But at least part of the reason for it would be also because he was huge in those lower weight classes. Even in this one, his last fight, or when he fought that giant UK guy, he rated 131 in the ring. So his size may be the reason. Okay, the Rodriguez is a bigger guy, even bigger than Inoue, but. And honestly, I haven't seen too much of Rodriguez, but in my opinion, yeah, Inoue is supposed to beat him. But speaking about Inoue and his talent, I have no doubts, and I love the way he boxes, and I think he deserves at this point to be somewhere between 7 and 10 on pound for pound list. It's sure that I would not put him any higher than 7 than pound for pound number 7 because of his competition, but right now, from now on, we are going to see how good he really is, because his future opponents are going to be better than his previous opponents.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And what do you guys think? I mean, Inoue top 10 pound for pound? I mean, I know it's subjective, but what do other people think?
Well, sorry, I just want to make a comparison. Look, for example, I love Terence Crawford, the way he boxes, but you see that's the problem with people in the US. For example, they are high on Crawford, and they should be, because judging by the eye test, he's a great boxer. And to me, Inoue is the same. To me, he's great too, judging by the eye test. While to put them in, but that's exactly the reason why I cannot put Crawford above Lomachenko or Usyk, because their competition, the people they fought were much better than Crawford's competition. So when making a pound for pound list, I know it's a subjective list, but to me, two things we should be looking at is first the eye test, and second one the resume and the guys they beat. So the eye test he passes, as well as Crawford, but the competition level was not huge for neither of them. So
I get what you're saying.
That's why I don't see Crawford much different than Inoue, except that Crawford is an American, and he's more popular, and his weight class, his current weight class, welterweight division, is more popular in America than bantamweight and the lower weights Inoue fought it.
Well, it certainly...
we have to move on to the next fights, no?
Well, it certainly seems... Well, hold on. It seems to me like Inoue hasn't had as many fights as Crawford. I think that's just the problem right there. It's the volume of fights. Crawford's been fighting top guys since 2013, 14, and I think... I think he's been fighting better fighters than fucking Inoue. Sorry, go ahead.
I think Inoue has to win this tournament for him to be in the pound for pound. Right now, he's got a few good wins, but there's nothing special on that resume right now. Yes, he's going up divisions and destroying people. You've got to take note. And the eye test is, well, you can definitely use the eye test when it comes to picking fights. But when it comes to the pound for pound list, I think it needs a bit more than an eye test. You know?
Well, I don't understand why the Shepherd of Sun says BDA versus Inoue. All right, Battle Rifle, you want to say something regarding Inoue? Battle Rifle, are you there?
He fell asleep.
He fell asleep. I hope he didn't fall asleep with a rifle in his mouth, like Gomer Pyle in fucking Full Metal Jacket. Because if that's how your life ends, with a rifle in your mouth and there's blood sprayed all over the bathroom. All right, listen. Butcher, you said you wanted to move on. Which fight would you like to move on to?
Let's start with Tevin Farmer against the Irish guy. What's his name again? See.
That's another one that I didn't see. You saw it. You told me you saw it. What was your impression of Tevin Farmer?
Tevin Farmer, against James Tennyson. My impression was, I mean, this guy what's his name again? I don't want to call him Diari here. Tennyson. Very basic guy. You could see his guard was pretty high, so his body was wide open, and he's tall and skinny. So he was there to get some body shots in, and well, Devin Farmer has only like 5 knockouts, and he managed to stop this guy. But I think the opponent was just perfect for Devin Farmer. Devin Farmer is the same Devin Farmer we've been seeing in the last few fights, but I really want to see him against tougher opposition. I want to see that fight against what's his name, Javante Davis, man. There's really not much to say about this fight. It was a complete mismatch.
Well, yeah, a lot of the design card were mismatches, really. I mean, the Tommy Coyle fight was the only fight that was really a 50-50.
Yeah, man, but listen, this is what happens when you broadcast an entire card. I'm used to it because here in Canada, Interbox and all those other Canadian promotions, they'll show you the whole fucking undercard on the pay-per-view. Sometimes it lasts about 3.5 hours, maybe more. They start showing the undercards when there's nobody in the arena. And so you're going to get a lot of mismatches there. So that's what the Zone is doing. They're offering you the whole card. My suggestion, start watching 2 hours before the main event. Steven Schneider making another generous donation. He says, do you think Inoue will move up to lightweight after the tournament? 135 might be too much, maybe featherweight. I tell you what, I think maybe even featherweight might be too much. People tend to exaggerate a fighter's ability to move up in weight. Remember when people were thinking that Lomachenko could move up to 147? And now we're seeing that 135 might just be his limit. Same thing with Golovkin. After he fought Canelo, people were saying, oh, he could move up to 175. I don't think so.
Well, it depends on the fighters, on how hard they can hit and how good they can take punches. Because if you compare him with Pacquiao, I think he's on a good way to jump up in not as many weight classes as Pacquiao, but I definitely see him being able to move another division or two, because except that I haven't seen his chin checked yet, so that's the only question mark for me. But to me, in order to move up in so many weight classes, you have to have a strong punch to be able to hurt the bigger guys in order to get their respect. And it looks to me that Inoue is doing just that. On the other hand, Lomachenko, he even in the lower weight classes, he was knocking out guys most of the times by he never been a one punch KO artist, if you know what I'm saying.
If you want to move up, if you want to move up,
a lot of the time, when you see a fight that is fought in 3 divisions, say he's got up 3 weight divisions, a lot of the time all he's doing is fighting at his natural weight. It's mostly big guys that have shrunk down for so long and just can't make the weight no more. Right. So they go up a division, but then as they get older, they're getting bigger again, and they can't make that weight, so they're having to go up again. And all they do is end up fighting at their natural weight. When you see fighters like Manny Pacquiao that went up, like fighting guys like much bigger than him, that's going up weight and taking the challenges. I don't see it. I don't even give fighters too much credit for fighting a guy that he should be fighting at his natural weight. And I think that's why we get mixed up with this. Always a 3-weight world champion, a four division champion. A lot of it's a load of bollocks.
Exactly.
Really is.
Yeah, and Pacquiao was struggling to make 130 a little bit by the time he fought Marcus the second time. So that's a good point. There's two, and also that like official boxing scorecard said, like you need something. A little advantage to be able to move up in weight. Like Pacquiao was able to do it because he had speed and power, and that speed translated into power when he moved up in weight. But if you're Inoue and you rely mostly on punching power, I'm not saying he's not skilled. What I'm saying is he punching power has been a big part of his arsenal so far. when he starts fighting guys at 122, 126 who can handle the punch, he's gonna have to be able to outbox them. He's not a Pacquiao type guy who shoots punches and bunches. And by the way,
exactly, machine gun style.
Yeah, exactly. Butcher,
why would that person ask that question in the first place? Why would he move up to lightweight? That's like 4 divisions.
Well, that's just
because Pacquiao did it, right?
Exactly. That's just goes to show you, Rifle.
But he's already moved up 1 division, so that would be like 5 whole divisions, bro. It's rare people do that. It's very rare people do that.
Well, he's already jumped up 3.
That's never going to happen again.
He's already jumped up 3 divisions, and so people. That's what I'm saying, Boxing Rifle. People are so high on what he's shown so far that they think he can move up, or they're wondering how many divisions he can move up. I think so far, let him finish what he's got on his plate at 118, see how he looks, and then we'll start talking about 122, 126. And by the way, people in the chat room were asking me to show you the trunks that Farmer was wearing last night. Look at this. Very flamboyant colors. Bucho, is Tevin Farmer trying to tell us something here?
That's what I was thinking, man. His entourage looked kind of suspicious, to be honest. I don't know if you have pictures of his entourage. They look kind of weird, man.
I gotta tell you, I'm a little worried here. Tevin Farmer. And you know what? Being serious for a moment, Precise is the one that really made me see that. I mean, first of all, I love Farmer's skills. I love his defense, his footwork. Reminds me a lot of Pernell Whitaker. But when it comes to the punching power, it's true what Precise said. The guy slaps. He's a slapper. And he's going to need that punching power when he starts stepping up his competition. And don't let him beating up this Irish guy fool you. I mean, Irish people are tough, but I'm pretty sure, knowing that the guy's Irish, I'm pretty sure he was half drunk or something there. So I'm not surprised he got stopped. And Tevin Farmer, he's going to need a couple of punching power in order to beat a guy like Javonte Davis. Then again, I think Javonte Davis can be outboxed. What do you guys think? Farmer versus Davis? Should that be the fight that happens?
Farmer said that for this fight, he was going to sit more on his punches and he was going to try to generate more power with his punches. So
yeah, but he fought an Irish
did he
guy.
actually change his style, or do we attribute the knockout to his opposition, who was pretty garbage? Pretty garbage-like.
Right.
So I don't know.
The thing with Javonte, sorry, Butch, I thought you'd stopped. Go on.
No, I stopped.
Oh. The thing with Javonte Davis, he can be outboxed at times, but it's whether you can take his pressure, because he brings a lot of pressure on. He throws a lot of punches, and he lands quite a lot of them as well. I mean, he's a hard man to get off you, and if you haven't got the pop to keep Javonte Davis off you, then you're in for a very long night. I think that's Tevin Farmer's problem. You've got to get these big punches. You've got to get their respect, where they ain't going to just walk through your punches and to throw their own, because nothing in return is affecting them. You need to get their respect early, change them off their game plan, and then you stand a chance. But someone like Javonte Davis is just going to keep coming forward, throwing them bombs, and eventually one's going to land. And I think that's going to be Tevin Farmer's problem. I just don't think he has, when they're in the pocket trading, I just don't think he's going to have much effect on Javonte.
That's a good point. I agree with Stewie. It's going to come down to damage. Who's going to unleash the most damage? Who's going to take the most damage? Able to handle the damage? And I think, of course, Javonte Davis is a stronger fighter, and probably, I don't know, maybe he can even take a punch better than Tevin Farmer.
I'll tell you what, though, I'll be hoping that Tevin Farmer wins, because I do like the kid, and he just shows that he's had his 4 defeats and a no contest or something, and he's come back to win a world title. So it just shows, mate, even with a bad start to your career, if you get the right training and start doing the right things, you can get to the top still. But yeah, I like him, and Eddie Hearn's doing good things for these say second tier American fighters right now. He's picking these guys. Never would have got a chance if it weren't for Eddie Hearn. They never would have been fighting in big arenas and making good money. So at the end of the day, my hat goes off to them. They're making their dough, and and they deserve to. It's a game, boxing, isn't it?
That's right. And it's interesting what you guys said. Oh, Rifle, you want to say something?
No, I just wanted to say that it's Javonte Davis with that fight. I think he actually it's a good chance that he beats Tevin Farmer. really convincingly because he's such a hard hitter. Tevin Farmer has the skills, but he struggled with some like subpar competition, and his power couldn't really bail him out of his situations except last night. So as far as his performance, he did really good. I'm not knocking him for it. I just think Tank is he's just such a hard hitter and he's so quick. I think the thing about him, he probably can be outboxed, but it's not so much that Tank just can't beat boxers. He's just very lackadaisical.
Yeah.
The only fight he would look.
Yeah, I agree.
The only fight he just looked bad is the guy he just couldn't knock out, and that was on that PBC card, and that was like 2 years ago, I think. But other than that, he looks phenomenal. He just, sometimes he just comes in there. It's like another person shows up, like he's favored to knock the guy out, but he just doesn't because he's just thinking of something else at the time. So,
yeah,
I think he fights very similar to Inoue. Like, it's just every shot he throws is with fucking mean intentions, and he's he's a very dangerous fighter, Javante Davis. I just don't think Tevin Farmer has the tools.
I tell you what, though, I hope he doesn't go the way. Oh, sorry, I thought you were finished.
No, I was just saying, don't have the tools to beat Javante Davis. Javante Davis doesn't have a threat at 130. His threat is when he moves up.
You don't think?
You don't think he has a threat at 130?
Yeah, you don't think Scheldt, who's a big dude, can challenge him?
No, I'd be picking Javante Davis. I'm not saying he hasn't got people that can give him a good fight, but when I look down at it, I think he's the best in that division. I think, mind you, like I said, I don't know this guy's in for me. So, I mean, when you're not in camp and you're not doing the right things, you can get found out quickly. So he might be a mess in his next fight and get destroyed. You just don't know. But if the Javante Davis I've been seeing, and if he's improving, then he's a problem. I just don't think anyone in that division can beat him. But when he goes up, then it's a different story.
I think he's got his hands full if he takes on Scheldt or Alberto Machado. Scheldt he's considered #1, by the way, by Ring Magazine.
Yeah, and
he can box. He outslugged Francisco Vargas, and then he outboxed Miura. What's his name? Miura, the Japanese. Miura, the Japanese strongman.
Miura.
Yes, thank you. So he can do a couple of both things. I mean, what do you guys think? You think? By the way, this division is a little bit lacking, but those two fights, Scheldt or Machado against Davis, pretty good fights. What do you think about Francisco Vargas? Is he shot?
Probably at this stage in his career, he is. He been in a lot of wars. It's fighters that went a very long time fighting in wars, like Atlanta Salido and people like Barrera, Ed Morales. But I don't know where he goes now. Scheldt was just a better fighter. Francisco Vargas could have beat a lot of fighters on that day just because of his training determination. But Scheldt, that's one of the reasons why my friend says he thinks Tank beats Scheldt easily because he's been in too many wars. A lot of people felt that he got suckered into a war with Francisco Vargas. He didn't have to get in a war. He just chose to. And that's one of the problems because he got knocked out before. So we don't really know how his chin is going to hold up against Tank, who hits extremely hard. He's probably the hardest puncher in the division other than Machado. And Machado hits extremely hard too.
Well, Tank's got a very good chin as well. Never really see him hurt. He's got a fucking head like a medicine ball, isn't he?
Well, we haven't really seen him get hit though. So
I've seen him get hit. There's a few times where he's got caught, but he just never any effect. I've got a feeling he's going to be one of these kids. It's going to take some serious punch to knock him out. I think he's got good chin. So.
Yeah, it might be probably because he's heavy. The Machado. And I really like Machado's skills, but the thing is, I thought a lot of people are favoring him to beat him as well because Machado, he basically robbed Machado of his belt, but you don't see Machado complaining. You don't see him trying to get his belt back, and that's one of the things. Like if he doesn't believe he can beat Tank, then it's basically you can't defend it after that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, forget about the belts. It's about the matchups. But here's the problem. Machado is going to be fighting on HBO, and then once they close shop, who knows who he's going to fight. Scheldt, so far, he's with Golden Boy Promotions, I think, so it's going to be interesting to see where he goes, probably the zone. By the way, I wanted to ask you guys.
Sorry, bro. How is he going to be fighting on HBO then?
Well, it's next. I think this Saturday he's going to be fighting, and then after that, it's over.
Oh, okay.
But I wanted to ask you guys.
In fact, sorry, I think that we are going to see another Bivol fight on HBO. They have a card in December or whatever. I'm not sure if I heard. No, maybe not Bivol, but
yeah, that's
someone
what I heard.
else. I'm pretty sure they have a card in December.
Yeah, there's rumors that there might be a card in December, but still not
who
sure.
knows? By the way, I wanted to ask you guys, how much do you think Farmer weighs? What do you think his real walking weight is?
Whose weight?
Farmer. I mean Davis. Sorry, Davis. Javonte Davis. Javonte Davis. What do you think his walking around weight is?
Well, 150 pounds, 155 pounds.
Yeah. Did you see the Scott Quigg fight, BDA?
No, I did not.
He looked
I didn't see the yard fight either.
Man. I'd like to see Quigg against Tevin Farmer, man.
Quigg looked like fucking Jake LaMotta in there.
Yeah, man. He looks big, man. He's now with Freddie Roach. I mean, I don't know. It was an interesting fight. Tevin Farmer Scott Quigg.
I think I would pick Quigg to beat Farmer.
Yeah, I was thinking. Yeah. I mean, the power's obviously there. I mean, he will have to pin down fucking...
problem, man. Quigg's a problem. I mean, let's be real. He took Valdez. Well, Valdez hasn't fought since, has he? I think he's put Valdez out of action for a year. I think he broke Valdez's jaw. It was a fucking war, man. One of the best fights I've seen for a few years. So, Scott Quigg's a problem. He was terrible against Frampton. We all know why. Joe Gallagher game plan.
We're back to Joe Gallagher again.
Yeah, I blame him for every defeat. Even Liam Smith against Canelo, it was his fault. He should have warned Liam Smith about the body shots.
Yeah, I don't think it would have made much of a difference, man.
No,
but
I don't. He could have brought Manny Stewart out of the grave, and it would have made no difference.
Speaking of body shots, Quigg really does fight. I mean, I don't want to stereotype styles, but it's the truth. Certain ethnic groups have different styles. Quigg fights a lot like a Mexican. That left hook to the body. I'm curious, do you guys know who he trained with?
I think that's why he gels so well with Mexican fighters.
Right. Yeah, I wonder who taught him how to fight that way. Because he really does fight like the stance, the head movement, everything. And
the problem with Quigg, he's so fit that he comes on for like 12 rounds. I mean, Freddie Roach he's ever seen, and it's not the first guy who said that. They reckon he's a machine when it comes to training every day, even when he's not in camp. So that helps when you've got that sort of style where you're not showing much, many jabs, and you're not showing many feints. You're just walking forward and letting your hands go. You do need to have a bit of a tank on you and a decent chin, and he's got that because Valdez hit him with some fucking monster shots. Put his nose across his face, and he was still coming in the 12th round. Very hard guy to beat, Scott Quigg. I think this Scott Quigg under Freddie Roach is a harder fight than the one under Joe Gallagher, because Joe Gallagher, his game plan's obviously you're half beaten before you even got in the ring with the Joe Gallagher game plan. Yeah,
the famous Joe. Who else fucks up like Gallagher in your opinion, Sue? Yeah. In other sports, like in football or.
I don't know, because they don't get a chance to get sacked, don't they? I mean, anyone with a record like Gallagher's gets. I'm not saying he's he's got some half decent fights, but he never moves anyone on. They go backwards with him. His game plans have cost his fighters defeats on many occasions that I remember, and I just don't like this guy. I mean, his game plan is, like I've said before, lose the first 7 rounds and come on strong in the last 5 and hope to win on points. I mean that. Right, but game plan we're talking about this guy. He doesn't see things that anyone with half a boxing brain can see. You know, he's telling his fighters to do the same things when they're getting beat every round. And
well, you know what?
I can't accept that. I can't accept that. Stealing a living.
Here you are complaining about the guy, calling him an incompetent and all that. What if maybe he's got Down syndrome and nobody knows it? And here you are making fun of somebody that's mentally handicapped. Stu, I gotta tell you, I'm a little disappointed.
That's not an excuse, mate. Freddie Roach has got fucking Parkinson's and he's still getting wins. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but his brain's not affected. He's not a retard. Maybe Gallagher's retarded, and you're making fun of a retard. I gotta tell you, that's no.
Oh, but by the way, we haven't seen that much of Freddie Roach's hand in what he has been doing lately. You know,
he might be faking it. Yeah.
I mean, he fought this Mexican guy who had no business being there with Quigg.
I wasn't even talking about Quigg. He's got better fighters than Quigg, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's true. And by the way, I'm going to introduce Recognize the Matrix as he just walked in.
Don't get fooled when they tell you that the crime rate is down in New York. Every time I watch the local news, they're always talking about, well, there was a stabbing here, there was a stabbing there, there was a shooting there, but the crime is down.
All right. We got Recognize in the house. Recognize, are you there?
What's up, BDA? What's up, panelist?
Good to have you on board. Listen, I think your introduction is a good segue into the subject that people are talking about in this chat room. We had an upset last night. Rob Brandt upset what's his name, Murata? I forget what his first name is.
Murata, yeah.
Murata. Okay, well, you gotta say it like a Spanish.
Murata.
Yeah, Murata.
Murata.
But yeah, Brandt threw, according to CompuBox. What was that? What did he say?
Señor Murata.
Señor Murata, yeah. Oh, and people in the chat room think he's Chinese. He's not Chinese, like Inoue. He's Japanese. But Brandt threw 1,200. No. Jesus, not everyone was Puerto Rican. He threw 1,200 punches. Brandt did. Reminded me of. Was that?
That's a joke. I thought he was a Muslim.
Okay, come on, enough. This is enough of the racial jokes. We don't get racial here at BDA Boxing. But Brandt threw 1,200 punches, and instead of people praising Brandt's performance, the way he fought, the conditioning he showed, people want to talk about. They're making fun of Murata. Some people are making fun of Murata, and some people are saying. I've read some comments in message boards. People saying, "LOL, Little G has nobody to fight now." Blah blah blah. You can tell the hate for Triple G is real because even when his potential opponents lose, it somehow gets redirected to Golovkin. What do you guys think about that?
Oh, they're going to walk Charlo into a beating. That's what they're going to do. Because, like I said, the less options Golovkin has, the more chance that he might have to take the Charlo fight. And their boy is, well, it's going to go horribly wrong for them. They're going to walk him into a beating like they did Rigondeaux. I mean, how many, they keep walking their heroes into a beating. They were going to do the same. what they do, they was going to do the same Wilder. They've talked Wilder's. I think they've actually sent Deontay Wilder crazy, his own fans. I think the pressure that's put on him and the constant whining from his little fanboys, I think it's to send him crazy. I think he's obsessed with Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn now. And it's a crazy obsession as well, where, court orders should be put on him.
You think you think Deontay Wilder is suffering from the fatal attraction syndrome, like Glenn Close in that movie?
If Eddie Hearn's got a fucking rabbit, then I'd be hiding it in the house.
Yeah, I heard the LD. That's a good point from Stu. The LDBC loves to make their fighters walk the plank. I heard that when the LDBC, when they watch The Passion of the Christ, they're rooting for Jesus to get to Golgotha so that he can finally fucking die. These people are insane. Recognize you were gonna say. What do you think about this whole internet drama?
Well, the LDBC, I'm sure they believe that Jesus is black. First of all, so they might root for him.
Oh yeah, the black Jesus.
But if any evidence shows up that he's anything, no, I'm just kidding, man.
He probably I don't know. Jesus probably looked more like Hamed, except skinnier. That's how he would looked. I don't think he was black.
No, I know. I think that going back to I would agree with you. He's probably Semitic or like Eurasian looking, something like that. I don't know. Jesus, I'm talking about. But going back to what your point about people laughing and I don't know what the obsession is of like Triple G. What is it? They don't want him to fight anymore. Is that the deal? Wouldn't they want somebody they're rooting for whip his ass? Mm-hmm. Wouldn't that be a better way?
No, they want that to happen, but they know that's not going to happen.
Well, you see, I wouldn't totally rule it out, right? Triple G is a great fighter, And there's no doubt about that. But you know the saying, you keep fighting long enough, you know, eventually you lose a step and you get your ass whipped. Muhammad Ali got his ass whipped, you know, and a lot of people think he's an all-time great. Mike Tyson fought enough times, got his ass whipped. Manny Pacquiao, an all-time great, got knocked out. So, you know, eventually you keep fighting long enough, you're gonna lose a fight.
Yeah, but, you know what the old saying goes: if you haven't got a defeat on your record, you're not fighting the right people.
Right, exactly. Absolutely. I mean, listen, like it's like if I told you I went into a bar, right, and I beat the shit out of everybody in the bar, you're gonna say, "Damn, who did you fight?" Mm-hmm. That's the first thing you're gonna say. Who did you fight? Right? You're not gonna. If I fought men my size and bigger, a little smaller, eventually one of those guys are gonna whip my ass, and that's the way boxing is supposed to be. You keep fighting long enough. Right. I mean, Sugar Ray Robinson's an all-time great. He lost, you know. So
absolutely,
that's my problem with Anthony Yarde. This guy's fighting no one. I mean, he's getting people from the Star Wars set. He's picking Ewoks from Star
Wars. But he had no amateur background, so I'll give him a little.
Yeah, but come on, man. This guy, man. Honestly, he's not. The opponents are getting worse. I mean, surely it should be the other way around. Surely it should be getting better. He's actually getting worse, bro. That's my problem.
Is he with Frank Warren?
Yeah, I mean,
that explains it. Then come on.
Frank needs to go soon. He needs to hang up. He needs to go and find an old people's home and go and fucking lose the plot in some empty room somewhere, because he is destroying BT. I feel sorry for BT because they pumped loads of money into this, and they're having to serve that shit up. And when you're competing with the Sky cards as well, I just feel sorry for BT Sports. Frank Warren is an absolute disgrace. I mean, let's be real. Look, he puts the bar in there with. Like I said, he gets the bar. He's got Kevin Johnson in some fucking tomb that's been mummified in there for years. He unwraps Kevin Johnson and puts him in the ring with the bar. I mean, I just can't. The cards are an absolute fucking joke. I mean, this was at the Brentwood Shopping Centre, wherever it was.
What?
I mean,
the fuck is that?
That arena holds about 1,000 people, and it weren't even full.
Oh boy!
Well, 1,500.
Oh man!
And look at
this is how bad his cards are.
I didn't even know who Yarde fought last night. I just looked it up. Walter Gabriel Sequeira from Argentina, 31 years old, 5 losses on his record. The only name I recognize are he lost to Dream, so that tells you what type of quality he is. He lost to Ezequiel Osvaldo Maderna, who lost to Edwin. What's his name? The guy who fought Andre Ward. The Dominican Republic.
Edwin Rodriguez.
Yeah, Rodriguez. Thank you.
Man. Man.
So that's the guy who fought Yarde.
Yeah, but like I said, if you see the size difference in there, it's just.
Yeah, Anthony Yarde looks like a cruiserweight.
Yeah, he's never gonna look smaller than his opponent. This
guy was a super middleweight, a blown up one at that. I mean. It's just ridiculous. It's just
he looks like Kronk from Emperor's New Groove.
I don't get that reference. Who?
I keep hearing about Frank. It's part of his schooling.
Put the image in the chat.
It's part of his schooling. It's part of his schooling. So, I mean, have we got to watch fucking Anthony Yarde go from kindergarten to fucking college or something?
Yeah. That's what it's like. That's exactly what's happening. He's going to school, but slow, like really slow.
You know, is it the new Truman Show, the Yarde Show? Yeah. We just follow his life with the cameras until he actually fucking fights someone. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's just a joke, man. I can't be done with Anthony Yarde. When you go on the IFL TV video, the press conference, it's got about 300 dislikes and about 10 likes. That's
Frank Warren's plan is probably to hype this guy.
Oh, everybody dropped off.
I don't think it's actually Anthony Yarde is a bad guy. I just think Frank Warren is feeding us this shit, and Anthony Yarde's accepting it, and I think that's why he gets.
I don't know why they don't make that. I've said it before on the show when we talk about Anthony Yarde that a good opponent, a good litmus test for him would be a guy like over here from my neck of the woods. The fuck is that guy's name? White guy. that knocked out Bernard Hopkins. Oh, God.
Joe Smith Jr.?
Joe Smith.
Yeah. Like, that's a good test for him. A guy who's going to be right there.
I think Joe Smith's going to fight Arthur Beterbiev, but I'm not sure if that's finalized yet.
The thing is, I think even Callum Johnson would be a good who Beterbiev just beat. He's British. The fight can be made. I mean, there's Joshua Buatsi, who is another British talent in the light heavyweight division, but he's had far less fights, but he's fighting better guys and doing it in better fashion. And Frank saying, "Oh, that fight's 2 or 3 years down the line. He's still in education. You know, he has to." Oh, fuck off. Do you know what I mean? This guy just needs to fight someone. Even Callum Johnson, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, but come on. I mean, like Bucho's. Well, who else said? Somebody said that. I think it was Rifle said that he has no amateur experience. So they're trying to baby him in there. But the fact that he gets into main events, that's where I start to get a little skeptical.
Joshua only had about 20 odd amateur fights. I mean, how long are we going to use this excuse? Like I said, the guy is a specimen of a man. You know, he's obviously in great shape. He can obviously bang a bit. He's obviously got the fundamentals, but he's fighting guys half his size. Like I said, man, Ewoks and fucking Bulgarian lorry drivers.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to bring up the Bulgarian lorry drivers, but it's true. Listen, I mean, Frank Warren, like Bucho mentioned, his stable is very thin. Eddie Hearn took over the British boxing. He's the king over there. And by the way, I want to bring up, Bucho showed me a video. What was it? A day ago, 2 days ago. He goes up to me. He goes, "Hey man, did you see that video where Eddie Hearn is walking around and Lomachenko walks up to him and pull his pants down?" I go, "What?" He goes, yeah. There's a video where Lomachenko pulls his pants down and Eddie Hearn, he pulled his shorts down, but he pulled them along with his underwear. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? So I finally see the video. It's not Lomachenko. It's a guy that's almost... Yeah. It's a guy that's like 6 feet...
Actually, somebody said Lomachenko, so I went along with the story, but then I was like, nah, it's not Lomachenko. Why would Lomachenko do that anyway?
Miles apart when it comes to talent.
But yeah, there's a video of Eddie Hearn walking around a mall, strip mall or something, and some guy comes over and just pulls his shorts down, and he's not wearing any underwear. So when he pulls those shorts down, you see everything. And
he's a freak.
He's a freak.
He's
yeah.
Not wearing any underwear.
But who doesn't wear any underwear?
You don't wear underwear, man. You're a dirty fucker, man.
Yeah, exactly, man. If you're not wearing no goddamn underwear, there's something. I mean, if let's say you don't want to do your laundry, which shows that you're a slob. But if let's say you run out of underwears, man, buy a pack. You should always have like a pack ready to go.
I won't even sleep in the nude, man. I always got to wear underwear, man. I can't be going around commandoing everywhere like I'm some sort of fucking porn star.
I agree, man. Imagine, I've never got that, sleeping naked. You start sweating. Your ass crack starts sweating. Now you get ass sweat all over the fucking bed.
Everything, innit? And like I said, especially women, they always want to sleep in the nude, don't they? Hug up to you in their sweaty fucking body. Nah, man, fuck that.
Well, that's different. That's different.
And your jokes are moving all over the place. Like, nah, man. Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
I don't feel.
Let's say you roll over and you're like crushing your balls and shit. Come on, man. Right. You gotta have something that keeps it in place. Something.
Exactly.
Man.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then you gotta pick the pubes with a couple of pliers and shit.
Yeah,
like,
that's another thing too. You're gonna listen, any girl that's like, oh yeah, I like laying on this bed and there's pubes everywhere. What does that tell you about her?
Yeah, but women I don't mind. If they want to sleep in the nude, I can sniff the covers later, when everything dries up. So there's a benefit there. But guy, I mean, if you're sleeping naked, that's unacceptable.
How do you get into this conversation? Oh yeah.
Yeah, let's. Lomachenko pulling Eddie Hearn's pants down.
Oh yeah.
All right. Bucho, you wanna move the show along? What do we segue into?
Next fight is Katie Taylor. Whatever.
No.
Well, when that
Get
fight,
the fuck out of here.
Am I the only one who didn't watch that fight on purpose?
You son of a bitch!
No, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't watch that fight either.
When I made a comment about the Irish, I mean, I think that proved my point. When they go hysterical over a female boxer because that's their only champion, they can get behind. I mean, it's quite embarrassing, really. I mean, I like Katie Taylor. Don't get me wrong; she's very good for a female fighter, but I just don't like female boxing.
Oh, he just said you cut off. You cut off, Stu, and all we heard you say was, "I don't like females." That's all we heard.
Yeah, right.
It's on the record now.
Yeah, I mean, she's a good fighter, don't get me wrong, but she was the final straw in me trying to stay awake. That actually put me to sleep. I just don't enjoy her fights that much. I don't know. It's not because she's a female. I just don't think women are talented when it comes to fighting. Sloppy. And, I don't know. Well, Is it me being a bigot? Tell me, boys. Did you see some I didn't? I don't know.
No. I mean, look. Let's face it. Women, I do think they have skills when it comes to boxing. I think every once in a while one comes along. They do have skills. But the problem is they don't have snap on their shots. There's no snap. They don't have the same snap as a guy. It's not possible.
Well, Katie Taylor kind of fights like almost a guy. But the thing is also, what you're saying makes sense. But in addition, the competition is very thin. There's not a lot of competition, and she seems to be a big level above everybody else. So it's not exciting. It's not competitive. I'm not interested.
So she's not exactly fighting. I mean, it's not like it's a stacked division either. And she's not fighting champions. She's got to be unifying belts and fighting the best around at least. Do you know what I mean? But she's not doing that. And Eddie's, he's the Marxist crew have obviously got in Eddie's ear to push this agenda because we've got world champions on the undercard of this chick. Do you know what I mean? They're fighting in front of 10 people while Katie's fighting in front of a full house. I mean, she should have been on earlier. You can't have her because basically she was the reason I missed the Andrade fight because she put me to sleep. I'd like to have seen her on earlier on in the card, and obviously the guys a bit later on. Obviously, give them their chance. I'm not a bigot. Let them fight, but come on, man, not fucking second main, second top event sort of thing.
Yeah, they had the national anthems playing and everything. I was like, come on.
Is this because of the UFC? Because of what happened with Ronda Rousey?
Else had their national anthem. That's Eddie Hearn playing to the Irish again. Playing to the Irish.
But one woman who has impressed me, like I actually like tune in or watch, and it's not because she's hot. She's actually hot, but this chick actually has a really good skill. She has pop. She has skill. She actually holds her hand the proper way. And I'm gonna tune in to watch her again. And she fights almost exactly like Vernon Forrest. And if you didn't know, her trainer trained Vernon Forrest, and that's probably why she fights so much like. And her name is Michaela Myers. Check her out. She fights really similar to Vernon Forrest. She actually has pop skill. She has good right hand, left hook combinations, jab. She got it.
Michaela, what?
I'm glad you didn't say Clarissa Shields, bro. Because
I was afraid that was fucking scared for a second.
She's the Lawrence Okoli of female boxing.
Wait.
I don't know what. Lawrence Okoli is pretty bad.
What's the name?
She's the
Michaela Myers.
What's that Oakley guy name? His name Oakley. His name Lawrence Oakley, I think.
Wait a minute. I googled Michaela.
Lawrence Okoli.
Yeah, I don't like him, man. I got big name, bro.
Absolutely.
Man, that last fight he had, that was just nasty, man. That was dumb.
I'm looking up.
Isaac Chamberlain fight.
He could put fucking Cali Sowland on a Saturday night to sleep, and that takes him doing the amount of coke he has. I mean, this guy, he's just horrible. Just holds. I mean, it's like I don't know if you remember the Henry Akinwande fight against Lennox Lewis many years ago, where Henry Akinwande got disqualified for holding. It was probably one of the worst fights I've ever seen in my life. And Lawrence Okoli is actually topped Lennox Lewis in his last two fights. Before Lawrence Okoli came on the scene, that was the worst fight I'd ever seen. Henry Akinwande against Lennox Lewis. Okoli's come along.
That's
twice done a hat trick. Okoli is for the worst fights ever to be graced on my TV screen, and he's 1-2 at the moment. I mean,
the thing is, that's actually pretty funny because a lot of people they might not notice it, but Lennox Lewis is one of the biggest clinchers in boxing at the time. He just knocks you out at the end. But if he clinched more than Lennox Lewis, then I got to see that fight and see how bad it was.
Well, Lennox Lewis, all you got to do is watch Vlad how he fights, and that's Lennox Lewis, how he holds, and but he does a lot of similarities in how Vlad and Lennox.
I think he holds more than Vladimir does, but you know, still,
I don't know, man. Vlad held quite a bit as well, man. Vlad used to push him on the floor.
Yeah, I'm saying I don't think Lewis held as long as Vladimir did. But you know, like I said,
Lewis used to fight his way out of problems where Vlad would hold.
Yeah, but like one fighter I would say is check out Michaela Myers though. She actually has really good skills.
Yeah, we put up a photograph of her upstairs. But my favorite professional fighter still remains to this day Mia St. John, and it's not because of her boxing skills. Let's just put it that way. I'm putting up her picture on the screen right there, and I'd be willing to spar with her any day. Except I wouldn't be using my fists, I'd be using my cock. Anyway, let's move on to another subject. Oh yeah, by the way, I wanted to mention something that you guys were saying about Lennox Lewis. I'll never forget the way he held Michael Grant's head, or the back of his head rather.
He threw that uppercut. Yeah, I'm surprised the referee didn't call that, but it was like he probably was one of them older referees. I
don't think it would have made any difference at all. Like Michael Grant would have got smashed to pieces either way.
Yeah, he would have. Yeah. That left hook, right hand combination. George Foreman, he was talking bad about Lennox Lewis as soon as it happened. He was like, I don't think Lennox Lewis is jumping on the gas quick enough. And then he knocked him down. He was like, ooh.
Yeah. Well, I used to watch Lennox Lewis's fights from an early age. I remember really young going to watch Bruno v. Lewis. I mean, it's a fucking fantastic case. I was probably one of the very few people that was wanting Lennox Lewis to win that day, and I've always followed him. I've always paid for his fights and things when they were on. And Americans hated this guy. They just didn't give this guy any sort of credit. I mean, it's only when he went is when they started to show him a bit of love, and that's the truth. If he was around during the Lennox Lewis, the guy was fucking hated in America. That they thought everyone was going to beat him. I remember they said, Lennox Lewis is going to get destroyed by Andrew Gallagher. Andrew Gallagher just beat up Riddick Bowe. Lennox don't have a chance, you know. And every time he kept proving them wrong, and it was always good to watch.
Yeah, Lennox Lewis, you know, he came in and did his thing, man, and he was one of those fighters that almost every time he came to America to beat somebody up, they'll be like, he's unproven, but he would end up knocking them out anyway.
Yeah, and the reason why
a lot of people didn't expect him to knock out Gallagher that way, and Gallagher was actually a really good fighter. He wasn't. He fouled like tremendously, but he actually was a good fighter.
I tell you what, that was destruction. That Lewis Gallagher fight.
It was indeed. You know, and he what happened? Oh yeah, he threw that like right hand on top of his head, and that was it.
The reason why Lennox Lewis was hated, or not disliked rather, by the American audience is because he was Canadian. He is the best Canadian fighter of all time. not British, like Stu would have you believe. Yeah, and that's why they didn't like him.
British.
And because he was a traitor, because he decided to jump ship to the UK as opposed to embracing his Canadian roots, which I gotta say,
he went back home, sweet home Alabama.
It's Jamaica, no?
Yeah, he was Jamaican, actually.
The thing is, though, Lennox Lewis has got about 5 passports in his suitcase. He's one nationality one day and another the next. See, I don't even think he knows what he is, and I think that's the problem. I think that's what I know and took to Lennox Lewis.
No, he just fought for like Canada in the Olympics, and then he like went back to the UK, and then
he was born in the UK. He was born in the UK. Obviously, that's where he got his toughness from, because it certainly weren't Canada. And
actually, I think he was born in Jamaica. I may be wrong.
He was born in East London, and then went to Canada.
So his parents are Jamaican.
Yeah, represented Canada, and obviously, I don't know why he did that. It was a bit of a snake move, really. You know, winning a gold medal. It's like Anthony Joshua winning a gold medal and then going to fight for Nigeria in the pros sort of thing. It just didn't make sense. But I think it was down to money. I think he saw that the market in the UK was just a lot better for him.
Yeah.
I think that was what he was down for. But the thing is, with him, if you looked at his shorts, he had it was like the United Nations flags. Or like this.
Everybody sells out. The price is right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's transracial. He's transracial. One day he's Jamaican, another day he's Canadian, another day he's British, another day he's from Mongolia. I mean, whatever pays. And by the way, people are saying, Nino Gadget in the chat room said, Gina Carano is still the best female fighter out there, or the hottest rather. I agree, man. I mean, Gina Carano, I'd spar with her, I'd grapple with her any day, and I wouldn't do it with my hands. I'd do it with my cock. Gotta get that one in there a second time, just to make it known what I would do with her.
I had a dream I fucked your brains out.
Oh yeah, Gina Carano, man. Can't beat her. There's nobody hotter than fucking Gina Carano. I know that's just my opinion, but my goodness gracious. She's getting a little thick though. I don't like that.
What was Cyborg?
Now, Bucho.
This kid getting jerky with me. It's common knowledge the guy's retarded.
What's the matter with you, Bucho? The fuck is the matter with you? Cyborg?
Wait, what's her name? What's her name? I'm gonna look her up.
Seriously, you don't mean Cyborg Sanchez. You can't do it.
No, that was Boxing Style who said like she had some feminine features or something. I think Boxing Style is kind of confused.
Yeah, but Boxing Style, come on. I mean, he's trolling. And he's in the chat room right now. Shout out to Boxing Style.
Oh, you talking about the UFC fighter? You talking about from Deadpool?
Yeah.
Fighting next.
Bro, nah. She's hot. She's hot, but I don't know if she's that. I don't know if she's that.
All right, hold on.
Hold on. I was making a completely sarcastic joke here.
I know. No. Hold on. He's not, Boxing Rifle is talking about Gina Carano. He's talking about Gina Carano. Look her up from.
Yeah, she was in Deadpool.
Yeah, look her up from 2009, 2008, 2009. She's getting a little bit. I don't know. Hollywood with the fucking hair and the makeup. She doesn't look as good as she did 10 years ago. 10 years ago, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
No way she gets past me. All right? No way.
Yeah,
okay, so I wanted to fuck.
I mean, if you look at the female athletes, most of them aren't like the best looking ones aren't in like combat sports like boxing and UFC.
Yeah,
it's like it's the chicks in the Olympics, like and stuff like that. The best looking ones aren't in like combat sports. Like
whoa, what's going on here?
What the hell?
Got some delay.
Dang, bro.
It's about sport where people
repeat.
Yeah, we had
The best looking ones.
Yo, Stu,
who's doing that? Wow.
Stu, we got some delay coming.
Why are you doing this?
My pause button on my screen did it.
Nah, bro, you replayed that, bro. He replayed it.
No, it's delayed, mate. It's delayed.
Yeah, it's delayed.
Man, I thought he replayed it like 2 times. But yeah, the best looking ones are like in the Olympics.
But, Stu, what were you gonna say?
And yeah.
All right, what's that, Stu? Go ahead.
Yeah, and
I don't even know why we're talking about sexy women in combat sport. I mean, these women are getting punched in the face for a living and elbowed and fucking their arms snapped, and we're expecting them to look like fucking Cameron Diaz.
You don't have to marry him. You don't have to marry him.
Yeah, who's saying anything about marrying them?
I'm not interested in any woman that's going to whoop my ass in a fight, man. I'm not dealing down them lines.
Nah, bro. I mean, I think
who wants to get dominated, man? Come on.
I'm not going to be a victim of domestic violence.
Like, if there's one person who I just couldn't like say like, oh my gosh, she is so hot as everybody's saying, and that's Ronda Rousey. That's the one lady who I was just like, she's okay. She's not really all that interesting to me. People keep saying, oh my gosh, she's so hot. I was like, all right, whatever.
She's not.
I mean,
she's not hot. I always said that she's not hot. She's not attractive. There's like one picture where she kind of looks okay, and that's the picture they use all over the place. But
yeah. Kayla Myers she's actually pretty hot. I won't say she's a 10, but she's hot. She's probably like one of the hottest girls in boxing.
But people should understand that we're rating these women fighters with knowing full well that they're women fighters, so the criteria kind of lowers down a bit. So we say a 10, but that's a 10 for a female fighter, not a 10 outside. You know, like
about skills or looks.
And looks. But when we say that she's a 10, we're talking about as a fighter, looking as a fighter.
So who's a 10 period for you? Like, what woman is a 10?
In real life?
Yeah.
I don't know. I had to think about it, man.
I mean, even if you were to name a celebrity.
I don't know. You're putting me on the spot, man. Here, I would think. Stu, what are you gonna say, man?
I was just gonna say, would you, Katie Taylor?
She looks like a man.
I don't know, man. She has a really developed chin.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man.
Well, she's been punched in it enough. I should. Don't know.
Yeah, no, it's
a guy in the chat, Nino Gagi. He said, "I like that Christina Hendricks. Never seen her. Let me look her up."
Yeah, I'm gonna look her up too.
Me too.
Christina Hendricks.
What about Holly Holm?
Yeah, not really. She's okay.
She's better than looking.
Maybe if you like punk chicks.
She's Ivan Drago with a wig.
Oh, he's talking about the girl from Mad Men. She just got big boobs. I don't know if she really has a face.
Yeah, she just got big old titties.
Yeah, she just got big boobs. But I don't know. She looks okay in the face. She was in that movie. What was that movie? Fist Fight.
Fist Fight. Are you talking about a porn movie or?
Yeah, I mean, it's not really a good movie, but it was okay.
Anyway, listen, I'm not gonna be one of those guys that sees a good-looking woman and then goes, no, I wouldn't do her. Like, oh, look at her, she's got her hair short, or like she's got
You're a pig, man. You're a pig, right?
If she's got tits and a pussy, I'm going for it. I don't discriminate all that.
No standards, man. Just fuck it, man.
I don't discriminate.
When you see a nice girl, you say, "Oh yeah, definitely I would," and your mate's like, "Nah, I wouldn't. Nah, not my type." Oh, fuck off out of here!
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, get out of here, man.
I've seen some of the things that they took home.
Man,
guys make me laugh.
Some of these guys don't even have the options to choose. So,
exactly.
Most men will nail anything.
They will indeed, and they think that for most guys, a 3 is a 5, a 5 is a 7, and 7 is a 9. I'm telling you, bro, that's how for most guys it is, bro. Like any chick that looks like a girl next door type chick, they're all over. So let's put that out the way.
And by the way, recognize the Matrix. I think it was last week or 2. Yeah, I think it was last week. He brought up that porn actress that some acquaintance of his knew, and he talked about how she couldn't hold her shits in because of what she did in pornography. And I looked, I forget, somebody in the chat room looked her up, and he said, "My God, you can't unsee." And I looked it up, and man, there was
a girl in this. Was in this club.
What's the girl's name?
There was a girl in this club, right? Was all in this club, and she had a white dress on, quite an attractive girl, and her fucking bowels gave way on her. She spraying shit everywhere, right?
Oh shit!
Honestly, shit everywhere, spraying out. I don't know what.
Spraying out? What the hell was wrong with her?
I think she had to leave the town.
What did she eat? What happened? Who's playing that sound effects, bro? Come on now.
I don't know.
She's obviously had a good batty Roger in, and her bowels gave way on her when she was out, man. Fucking a white dress as well, man.
Oh man, you probably should have told me that story, man. That was crazy. Lord have mercy. Why? Why the sound effects?
Okay, well, how do we end up talking about this shit?
I don't know. It's too.
Talk about women, and then he's talking about bowel movement and stuff. So that's, I don't know.
Stu always brings up the shit.
I wasn't the worst one to mention that. Someone was talking about their actions in porn, mate. You know, they was talking about going to the toilet or some of their actions with porn, and it just came.
I think that was BDA.
No, it wasn't me.
By the way, Saint Brit says Misha Tate got a nice slutty look.
Yeah, she does. She does get that.
Misha Tate.
Yeah, Misha. Maisha or Misha?
Misha.
I think it's Maisha Tate. Oh, okay. I guess so. What about her?
Misha Tate.
She's got that look.
That's what
naughty look.
You can tell her. You can tell her pussy tastes sour, and that's a good thing. That's a good sign.
What the hell? She was dating, or she was fucking Shane Mosley, no?
What? No.
Yeah, that's what people were saying. Because they were together in the crowd one. Yeah, I heard that. Like they kind of like.
Yeah, you also heard Lomachenko pull down Eddie Hearn's shorts. Come on, I'm not gonna trust what you say anymore, Bucha. Sorry, you got no credibility.
Oh, man.
Hey, didn't you see a tape? Didn't you see a tape with Javante Davis fucking Oscar De La Hoya? You saw that too, right?
No, it was Javante Davis and Adrian Broner.
All right, bro.
Oh yeah,
this is getting out of hand.
That makes more sense. All right. Wait a minute. Oh yeah. So fuck, we got away from the boxing.
We didn't even talk about Andrade yet, man.
Do we have to talk about Andrade?
Well, it was a mismatch.
It's the title of your video.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, go ahead.
Well, Demetrius Andrade, I don't know how it goes. Is it Andrade or Andrade?
Andrade, he's Panamanian. He's a brother. So let's call him Andrade.
He fought, he fought this African guy, Walter Kautondokwa. Let's just call him Walter. And it was a complete fucking mismatch. Walter went down like 4 times in the first 5 rounds, I think. But hey, he managed to stay up and go 12 rounds, even though he lost every single fucking round. I don't know. It wasn't an impressive win because who the hell was this guy, Walter, man, who took the fight on a 2-week notice?
Mm-hmm. Walter White.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, right.
So that's pretty much the fight, BDA.
Okay, but so what do we make of Andrade? Because he did beat Martiriosian, even though a lot of people, I know there's some people in this podcast, boxing style, who think Martiriosian won that fight. But what do we make of Andrade? Do you guys like his skills? Do you like his hand speed? Do you think he's overrated, underrated? Anybody?
He's in a weird place right now. You know, nobody is really rooting for Andrade as big as they used to because he was like one of those fighters that a lot of people were looking up. But because he was so inactive, he kept pulling out of so many fights. And, you know, he just being hypocritical with what he wants to do with his career. I don't know there's really a lot of people supporting right now. So I wouldn't say he's overrated, but I don't want to underrate him by saying that he just didn't knock out bosses because he did it. He did good. He just looked tired as the fight came on. And sometimes that does happen. He knocked him down 4 times. And maybe you can say the first one was kind of a slip, but he did indeed knock him down the other 3 times. So So the thing is, it looked weird because I think he got dropped himself. I think it was like a double knockdown, but it wasn't called.
Oh yeah.
And so I mean, it's weird. You know, I don't want to really underrate him. I think he can do something at 160, but as far as who he beats, maybe he beats somebody like William Monroe, maybe a Curtis Stevens. I haven't heard from him. Maybe he comes back and he's fine. Maybe a Devin Lemieux. I don't know. Devin Lemieux hits really hard, but Andrade maybe can do something. But I don't really see him beating somebody like a Canelo or a Jamal Charlo.
Can I say something just quickly because you mentioned the knockdowns and Andrade should have been disqualified because in the first knockdown, it wasn't actually a knockdown. It was a trip. Yeah, Walter tripped. And then once he went down, fucking Andrade, he hit him. And then you could see that he was actually hurt after that. Walter was hurt when he was down. But he went down because of a trip. And the referee didn't do shit, man. And that should have been a disqualification, man. Walter would have pulled off Anthony Dirrell, man. That fight's over, man. It's a disqualification.
Yeah, and that's fun. And it's funny you say that because, like, I would every time somebody talk about hitting after the bell, Roy Jones doesn't come to mind. Anthony Dirrell doesn't come to mind. Louis Santana comes to mind. That dude flopped 2 times when Terry Norris had hit him, like when he wasn't supposed to. Like I think he hit him. The first time he hit him like on the shoulder. And Louis Santana made it look like he hit him in the back of the head. So he flopped it and acted like he was really hurt. So I think it was like a disqualification. The second time is when he hit him after the bell. And he acted like he was so hurt. It was so funny. Oh my God. He got disqualified 2 times in a row against the same guy.
And he hit Sugar Ray Leonard when he was down too.
Yeah. Terry Norris did. I'm not gonna lie. Terry Norris did. He did punch after the break. Yeah, he punched after the break so many times. He was so overeager, and he got disqualified. Like he got disqualified actually 3 times in his career for hitting people while they were down. So, but I will say that Louis Santana, he did kind of flop it because the first time he didn't even hit him in the head, he hit him in the shoulder, and he flopped it. So,
Gallagher got disqualified twice against the same guy as well, didn't he?
Who
did? Andrew Gallagher. He got disqualified.
Against Bo. Yeah, I don't know what the heck Gallagher was thinking. He was winning on both halves, and he just decided to low blow the guy. I don't know. He been retarded or something. He was doing really dumb stuff for no reason because. Yeah, it was weird. Like, I don't know what he was thinking. He hit him way below the belt. He threw a 3-punch combination to his penis in the second fight. So that was weird. Like once that happened, the fight broke out and stuff like that.
Yeah, Golada was also got arrested. I think in 2003 or 2002. He was driving and he had a temporary badge because I think he'd been deputized or something. But the badge was no longer active. It expired, and so when he got pulled over by the cops, he pulled it out. And he pretended to be a cop, and then obviously they did a background check, and they found out he wasn't a cop. He was just some Polish guy that likes to hit people in the nuts. And they went back to his car, and he goes, "Yeah, I saw that. I know police officer. I know police." And then they arrested him. So yeah, I think there's something. Who said it here? Somebody was on this podcast, and they said that the guy was insane. Even in Poland, he had the reputation of being insane.
Pavel.
It was Pavel? Okay.
Probably Pavel.
Oh, they were probably friends back then. They were probably both burying people in their backyards together. Hey, what happened to Pavel, by the way? I haven't seen him in a while. I saw him in the chat room earlier.
He jumped on one of the last shows that I did, basically.
He's on. I think he's on a secret mission at the moment.
A secret mission?
Doing some surveillance on someone. The LDB. Probably blood boxing. He's in Milwaukee. He's following 78 Sports TV around as we speak.
Eesh, what a lousy job. But yeah, Golada, I do think there was definitely something wrong with him in terms of his
mental issues. Definitely, I think he had mental issues when he was fighting. I mean, it's amazing how he passed. I think you have to pass them sort of tests, don't you? If you're mentally right to be in a boxing ring. I mean, how fucking Oliver McCall passed his test that night, I'll never know. But I think they do have to have tests because you can't have fucking psychopaths going in the boxing ring. And I think,
we've talked about this before on the shows too, about how you have to be a little bit crazy to be a boxer.
Yes, but there's a madness and then there's a psychopath.
True.
You can be a crazy man in the ring, but it don't mean that you're going to go and fucking slaughter someone and chop them to bits. A psychopath will do that. So Gallagher just seems like the sort of guy who's fucking got. He's got some Joseph Fritzl basement where he's got probably 4 or 5 Polish. He's got kids with him and everything. Do you know what I mean? He's that sort of guy, and he just comes across as a weirdo.
I got to put up the picture of Joseph Fritzl. I should have it ready for whenever you bring it up. There we go. Joseph Fritzl. Good old Joseph. But now let me ask you this. Do you think Kovalev is a psychopath too? A bit of a sociopath?
I think Kovalev will end up as a Russian mafia hitman somewhere in New York. I think he's that sort of guy. When he can't fight no more, he'll earn his money in like activity.
Undercover Asian just made a donation.
He'll end up working for the mafia, being a hitman or a fucking
probably
debt collector or something like that. I mean,
Undercover Asian made a contribution, and he says Murata is really tough. Japan's, according to Tim Bradley. Yeah, I think that's a quote from Timothy Bradley from last night. The guy, look, he's trying to get better as a commentator, and I like Timothy Bradley as a commentator. Certainly better than Roy Jones, what he became. I mean, listen, Roy Jones, he used to be great as a commentator, but then he started to play the agenda, the HBO agenda.
Yeah. You should try listening to Sky. We have to listen to a paedophile for 5 hours. Adam Smith.
Wait, he's an actual.
Well, he hasn't been caught yet, but
Well, how do you know he's a pedophile, man?
I don't know he's a paedophile, but he looks like one, he talks like one, he's an annoying little fuck, and I just don't want him on my TV screen. 5 hours this man is enough to send anyone crazy.
Well, I mean, yeah,
There's something weird about him. He's just something weird about him. It is.
Speaking of speaking of Joseph Fritzl.
Yeah, he's like a Fritz. I think he's got a mini fairground in his garden for when he has the kids round, sort of thing. He's one of them ones, isn't he?
Well, listen, getting back to Andrade, just real quick, because here's the thing. Everybody's talking about Canelo with the big deal with the DAZN, multi-million-dollar deal. Who's he gonna get? There's a rumor that Jacobs is gonna jump over to DAZN if he beats Derevyanchenko. Now we got Andrade. Do you think Andrade? Who would you rather see? Actually, that's a better question. Who would you rather see? Andrade versus Canelo or Jacobs versus Canelo? You guys tell me.
I think I'd rather see the Andrade versus Canelo.
Really? Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why would you say that?
I mean, just because he's just one of those fighters that just, like, I think he's one of the fighters that just needs, like, a really big step up as far as competition, because as far as you know, he hasn't lost yet, so.
Well, how does that fight go?
I think I would have it a UD for Canelo. I think it would outpoint him. Andre would give him a lot of problems, but I think he would outpoint him in the end.
Anybody else? What do you guys think?
I think Canelo goes through Andrade. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, could that easy fight for Canelo? Destroys him. Gets he by KO as well. I've seen Andrade's a good boxer. He is a good boxer, but he's very vulnerable. I've seen him hurt. He nearly got stopped by some journeyman. I remember just a few fights ago. Do you know what I mean? He's not really beat anyone. Like I said, boxing start this. I mean, this guy, he's a good fighter. He just hasn't really impressed me. I think Canelo Alvarez is at the top of his game right now, and I think that'd be a real bad night for Andrade. I see him getting stopped in that one.
The Shipper of Songs in the chat says that Andrade or whatever, he's going to fight in January. Hearn said Canelo versus Jacobs next year if Jacobs wins. So who is Andrade gonna fight? Because
he's gonna have to fight someone. He's got a belt now. He can't unless he does a Deontay Wilder, just fucking keeps it hostage. But
maybe he can finally fight Saunders.
Or maybe I see him fighting Triple G, being that Murata just lost, so that Tokyo payday is gone. So I would not be surprised if Triple G signs with Hearn or with DAZN or whoever and fight Andrade.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I actually, Stu predicted this, that Golovkin is going to end up with DAZN. Is that what you predicted, Stu?
Yeah, he's got nowhere to go, mate. Nowhere to go.
Well, he can go with Showtime.
I just don't see it. I just don't see him going with Showtime. How many pay-per-view fighters have Showtime got?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's a good point, because there's rumors that Pacquiao against Broner, which will be happening, that's going to be a pay-per-view. So why would you people? I mean, people say like, "Well, Showtime is better than this other network, blah blah blah." But then this is the type of fight you should be getting for free. I mean, for your payment for Showtime, you should be getting that free. Why? Yeah.
But Golovkin is as the guy says, he'd be on the wrong side of the road if he goes to Showtime, because all the belts are going to be at DAZN. He's got nowhere to go, and to be fair, he's going to get good money off the DAZN. They're going to pay him what he wants, and there shouldn't be any problems. I see that deal happening quite soon.
Yeah, exactly. The only reason why Golovkin would end up with Showtime would be if they offer him money that he cannot turn away.
Yeah, of course. But,
and then Charlo fight, but that's pretty much it. And it's not like Charlo generates a lot of money, right? So I don't know where
I just don't see. I don't see Golovkin at Showtime anytime soon. Showtime have got plenty of fights that they could have tried to put on pay-per-view, see how it went, and they've not done it. They've not, you know,
yeah.
Yeah, by the way, is Pacquiao Broner going to be pay-per-view?
Well, that's what they're saying, but then I hear people saying, no, that's not true. It's going to be on Fox. But I don't know where they're getting. I don't know how they're going to come up with the money. I don't know how much. I mean, because both fights are going to be asking for a lot of money. That's for sure.
It's interesting. It's interesting because if the zone thing ends up working, I mean, Steve Kim was calling it a couple of years ago when he said that and I think even more than a decade, they were talking about how these streaming platforms, or even before the streaming platforms, that this was going to be the thing, the future. It was going to take over boxing. And now they're talking about, Golden Boy is talking about no longer doing pay-per-views. I mean, could you have imagined no more pay-per-views in boxing 5 years ago, 10 years ago? I mean, it's incredible. It really is. If they can pull this off, it's a big movement.
I'm really behind the Zone. You got to give the Zone credit. They're willing to put a lot of money into a sport that doesn't really give you a lot back. Big fights. Do you know what I mean? You have to lose a lot of money in boxing before you make it. And the Zone they're putting up the money. I mean, we see Heyman, what he did with $500 million. Them guys must be fucking. Oh, they must be devastated that they didn't give that money to Eddie Hearn instead, because they might have got some sort of return. But they gave it to Al, and he fucking. Well, we all know what Al did with that. So it's very hard. It's very hard to make money in boxing. Very hard business to make a lot of money in. So you got to give the Zone credit, but they're building, and they've got they've got Usyk, they've got Canelo, they've got Joshua, they've got some real big names. Better be, you know, and. If they get Golovkin, then
like
Charlo could be next on board if he wants them, because he'll have nowhere to turn then.
And the Zone and Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing, like they have the money, but it looks like they have a plan how to start in the United States. Like, for example, they're starting locally. I don't know if you guys watched the whole undercard, but I watched it since like fucking 5 hours before the main event. They were putting a lot of local fighters in there, like from the area. So they're trying to start from one point, and then grow. But you look at like the PBC, what they were doing, it was like they had a lot of money, but it doesn't seem like they had a plan for where they wanted to go with it. They were just putting fights all over the fucking place in like 6 different networks, a lot of mismatches, and then 2 years later, you like the PBC. It doesn't seem like it grew anything. It didn't create any superstars. I don't know what you guys think about that.
There's an actual knack to building up a brand. You have to build the brand up. And I think that's what Eddie Hearn does well. He can make average fighters make a lot of money, like Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte's not a great fighter. He's a good fighter, don't get me wrong, but he's flawed in so many ways. Yet somehow Eddie Hearn has conned us into him being a pay-per-view fighter, and people are paying. So that's the skill of building up a fighter. And I just don't think the American promoters are too old school, stuck in their old ways. They're just not looking for any change, and that's where they're going wrong. You've got to. It's a different world out there now. You've got to move on. Yeah,
because I mean, we don't know if Eddie Hearn is gonna, and the Zone and now Golden Boy, that if they're gonna fail to succeed. It's still very early, but we can already see some hints that they're doing things differently.
I tell you what, though, that card in Boston just seemed like it had a better vibe about it.
Yeah, exactly.
It just seemed a better, it just seemed that it had a bit of life about the event. It was full. There was a lot of fights on there. It just had a matchroom production about it, and I think that's what.
Yeah, you had the crowd. There's a lot of Irish fans, and there's nothing wrong. I mean, if you know that the Irish are going to show up, then make them show up. You know what I mean?
That's why Katie Taylor's on that card. I mean, Conor McGregor was there. For fuck's sake.
Conor McGregor was there. Irish Mickey Ward was there. They're playing the national anthem before Katie Taylor's fight. They're playing the whole Irish thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you know that you're fighting Massachusetts, fuck it, do it. You know what I mean? Don't go in the middle of nowhere and do a show there. I mean, come on.
And I do see a lot of these American fighters that are with Eddie. They seem happy fighters, and you're seeing that in their performances. They seem happy fighters, and that's got to be good for boxing. Anyone that hates on a man for trying to make a living, then you're a fucking scumbag. If you're going to put the race, because the guy's the same colour as you, but you'd rather him suffer and fucking get no fights and get out of shape like Javante Davis than get in world title fights and make good money. If you'd rather him be like Javante Davis, then you really are a low-life piece of shit, wishing that on anyone. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I understand why you have to call me names, but here's the thing. You speaking of that, writing off your point, it's interesting because I was reading the comments for another article, and somebody was saying about how the PBC's mismanaging their fighters. You know, they're not getting them any fights. And somebody said, well, so far nobody's been complaining about the PBC. All the fighters love Al Heyman. And I was thinking, wait a minute. Amir Khan left the PBC. What's his name? Jacobs left. Andrade left. Sean Porter was complaining I think a year and a half ago because they weren't getting him any fights prior to Thurman. Finally, they ended up getting him.
Beterbiev left.
But Beterbiev wants to exactly. So let's not make it out like the PBC and like Al Heyman. Everybody loves Al Heyman. They thank Al Heyman because they have to. Remember when Fanfara beat Chavez and his promoter kept saying Al Heyman, Al Heyman, Al Heyman, thank Al Heyman. Like that's why they thank him, because they have to, not necessarily because they love him. At the most, the best guys get 2 fights a year from the PBC. It's just not working out. I wish the PBC would have worked out. It would have been great. But like Bucho said, they have no direction, and that's because Al Heyman.
Now they have the Fox deal, and that if Fox actually takes over a little bit of the promotion and everything, the marketing, then it might succeed. But if they just leave it to the PBC, they're not going to do shit with it. We saw with the network television, they fucked up that possibility. So, I mean, the PBC, don't expect them to do any type of fucking work. Man.
Well, sorry, go on. I'm going to say it after you.
I've said enough. Go on.
Okay, so just to say quickly, well, there's two things. First of all, even if their fighters are okay with PBC, as they're saying, we should not give a fuck. We should look at it from the fans' perspective. So I don't give a shit if they're getting paid well. I mean, great for them. But me as a fighting fan, I want to see the best fights, and it's incredible for how many years they've been since they created PBC, and with all those fighters they had and they still have. It's incredible that they haven't created one single pay-per-view star out of them all, because they have a huge amount of really good fighters, and they are like I just don't know like in PBC there's no clear plan, there's no strategy at all. It looks like Sorry?
Go ahead.
Well, it's incredible with so many fighters they had. They only destroyed their careers. And in the beginning, of course, the fighters were thankful to Heyman, because he paid them, he threw a lot of money to them to fight bombs on Showtime and the other networks. But now it's already different. People are leaving the PBC, and plus they're not getting enough of fights. And so we're
can
going
I
to
say
see
something?
What's going to happen.
BDA wants to say something.
Can I just to official boxing scorecard's point? I'll just say this: Errol Spence, he beat Kell Brook in 2017. What did he do this year? 2 fights.
Oh my God, no.
2 fights, Lamont Peterson and Ocampo.
BDA, man, there was a tweet from Spence saying, like, I'm loyal, something about loyalty. Then all of a sudden, and this was Heyman, so if you guys follow Heyman on Twitter, you can see this. So Spence put a Twitter on talking about loyalty, well, like he's very loyal. Obviously, he's talking about Al Heyman. But later on, he posted another tweet saying, when am I getting a fight or something like that? But then he deleted that tweet, but somebody took a picture of it before he deleted it. So this guy is not happy with the PBC, man. Let me tell you that, man.
Well, let's be real. You've got to take the moment, 2 years where you're at your best. where you peak earning, and you have to take your chances with them. Not everyone's going to be a Floyd Mayweather where they can come back and fight some bum and make 40 million. Even Floyd's days over of doing that are over. So no one's going to be doing that anymore. And these fighters are going stale, you know. And we've seen throughout the years that when fighters are not active, they're not the same fighters when they come back. Their timing's off. The fitness is not there.
Yeah.
The sharpness, the snapping the punches is not there. So Al Heyman could be the downfall of Errol Spence by not keeping him active. So when he does find Spence a fight, he could get found out.
How did Golovkin become a star? Or more popular? Because some people claim that he was never a star. But that's to be debated. But okay, how did he become popular? Well, he was constantly fighting every year, putting on exciting fights, knocking out his opponents, and that's when he became a name in boxing. He didn't become a name by just fighting twice a year, once a year, and then disappearing off the map for several months.
That's what Hearn did with Joshua. Joshua was fighting four fights, you know, and just building the name up slowly, taking him all around the country, took him to Scotland, you know, took him to Wales and played, you know, just taking him all over the place and getting the fans to know this guy. And that's how you build a brand. These American fights, they've got no promoters. I mean, Deontay Wilder's got all these advisors and these managers, but not one of them's got a fucking clue, man.
Yeah, like they're not putting him. Like he should be showing up on TV shows, not TV shows, but like, you know, those talk shows and stuff like that. Like, do something with this guy, promote him, man. Put him up there, man. Nothing. Do you know this? It doesn't seem like the PBC is there to grow the boxes. Just there to like do some money scam or something. Because that's what it seems like to me, man.
It's lazy. It's lazy promotion. That's what it is.
Well, they were expecting to live off Floyd forever instead of creating the new stars, the future stars in the process.
Yeah, exactly. You look, take Keith Thurman and where he was before the PBC was created. So let's say 2013 till now. How much did he become? How much did he grow as a fighter, as popularity-wise? He's kind of still at the same level as 2013.
Danny Garcia, pre-PBC, he goes against Morales, Khan, Kendall Holt, Zab Judah, Matisse, and then Herrera,
Guerrero,
Salka. I mean, come on.
Malinaji,
Look, listen, here's my dream. My dream is that the PBC somehow is able to, or is willing to make fights with Golden Boy and with the Zone. Because I get the feeling that Golden Boy has realized that they needed the Zone. They're not going to go back to HBO. I mean, to Showtime. But Top Rank is a problem because they think that they're the shit. They think, listen, we got ESPN Plus, we get ESPN, we can do whatever we want. That's what they think. So I don't think they're not going to be willing to negotiate with the Zone unless it's a big fight. And the PBC, hopefully they can do that.
Top Rank cards are fucking dead, though, man. I mean, I was switching over to that top rank card. Don't get me wrong, some of the fights are good, but just the whole production and that woman that commentates. Oh, I can't bear her voice, man. She's so fucking.
Me neither.
Oh, she's dreadful. She's absolutely.
Which woman are we talking about?
The female that does Top Rank TV. I think that's. Is she a Chinese girl?
Yeah. Fuck, what's her name? It's not Michelle Joey Phelps. It's the.
No, she in Chinese. Is she?
No, I don't know. Is she the one, Bucho? Is she the one that's? Yeah, I think so. Is she the one that?
She's hot. Don't get me wrong.
That's what matters.
Yeah, but she is hot. But if she keeps her mouth shut, then fine. But when she's talking boxing, it's just dreadful. It really is. Don't get me wrong. She knows a little bit about the sport. She's just boring, and listen to her and some fucking retard beside her, man. Scott.
Oh,
almost as bad.
Jesus.
So, hey, but speaking of commentators, the last night, the middleweight fight with what's the Japanese name that was supposed to fight Golovkin?
Senor Murata.
Murata, yeah. So I haven't seen it, but I read the comments. Like they're saying that they were shilling for Murat up till the late in the fight, and finally Bradley. Some of the commentators said it's kind of close fight, and Bradley had it enough and said, what you're talking about, I have it like 8-2. I have Murat losing 8 rounds to 2 at the moment. So was it really so bad? Because I haven't seen the fight.
You didn't see the fight?
I saw it either.
I saw the fight, but I didn't see it with the top rank commentators. I saw it with Polish comment. So of course I don't know what there was. I don't know.
I
knew
it. You're Polish, man. You're Polish.
No, I'm not Polish.
Yes,
recognize,
you are. You're Polish.
Recognize. You're gonna start conspiracy theories, man.
You said it sounds Eastern European.
Yeah,
You
sound Eastern European. I'm telling you.
You know why it is? I've explained it before on the show. Is because somebody told me that when we speak Spanish, we use different parts of the mouth than English. English is more for Germanic rooted language, so you use more of the throat, whereas in Spanish we use the front of the mouth. So I use the front of the mouth when I speak English, but I don't quite sound Spanish. I end up sounding Russian or Eastern European, because the Eastern Europeans use some of the same parts of the mouth as the Spanish people. So that's what happens with me. I sound Eastern European, but believe me, I'm not Eastern European. I take showers. I'm not Eastern European. Sorry. By the way, there's this girl. I was trying to look up the name of that woman for Top Rank. Couldn't find her. I did find somebody else. She's interviewing Manny Pacquiao. This nice little piece of work. Jessa Hinton. My goodness gracious. I'd let her interview me any day, and she wouldn't do it with a mic.
What the fuck is that?
I do it with my cock. What?
She looks like a porn actress.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Playmate. She's a former playmate.
I can't see it because every time you put these pictures, I can't see it because I have to pause my YouTube link because my fucking internet.
Holy shit!
So I can't see it.
Ah, wait.
Fucking Stu always has excuses. First he says, and we got it on tape, he says, I don't like females. That's what he said earlier in the show. And now he's saying he can't. You didn't say that? I heard you say it.
No,
all right, by the way.
Paige Van Zandt. That's what Quincy Pinola says in the chat. That's her name.
She's not bad. But Stu, you should really look at the screen, man, because I'm going on Jessa Hinton's Instagram page. My goodness gracious. Like I said, do an interview with me, honey. All right, what the fuck is this?
Who is that?
This is my dad.
I'm still sticking with Michelle Joy Phelps, bless her.
Oh, man, you gotta move on, man.
Yeah, I don't mind. He's all right.
Did she fuck Eddie
She's
Hearn?
my favourite.
Did she fuck Eddie Hearn?
Oh, mate.
Hey, let me tell you, I'll put it.
She probably had a threesome with Billy Joe and Kid Gallagher. No.
I'll put it to you this way. Michelle Joy Phelps can sleep naked on my bed anytime. She can leave all the pubes she wants in my bed. Let's just put it that way. Oh, Bucho, this girl, Jessa Hinton, she's also a ring card girl for Top Rank. That's why she's...
okay.
That's what they got her working there.
Top Rank girls need to step up their game. I mean, they're I don't know, they changed them and they're not as attractive as before. The Kate girls always take them. Yeah, that's an old one, I think. Just,
all right.
Yeah, no.
Listen, we do have to go, but I just want to read some comments first. Violence News Network goes, damn. Shepherd the Sun says, is Stu the new apology? Now, wait a minute. Apology right now, he's changing his ways.
BDA. I want to get this straight before we go. I've got a guy in the chat now saying that I don't like females. You're starting a rumour now that's not true. I just want to clear, I did not say I do not like females.
That's right.
It cut out. I said,
hey,
I don't like female boxing. That's what I said.
That's right.
BDA, can you just address the Hamed thing? say what you think about Hamed, because then Hamed thinks that like you like him or something. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I've said before in other shows what I think of Hamed, so I don't understand why there would be any miscommunication here. But if you want, yes, I'll say it again. Fucking Hamed, I heard him going on. He went on Cameron's podcast because what happened? A little YouTube drama here for everybody. Bucho was doing a podcast, and all of a sudden, Cameron, for some reason, gives him he gives Hamed a link. Now, for those of you that are new to the show, we don't let Hamed anywhere near this show because the guy did a lot of bad things behind the scenes. Always wanted to get people banned, and then he was trying to get people away from the show because he couldn't get a word in edgewise, which isn't true, by the way. That's his statement, but we let him talk, believe us, and we should have shut him up from the beginning, but we let him talk anyway. He gave Cameron gave Hamed a link, and Hamed came on, and Bucho, of course, right away booted him. And then he goes over to Cameron's podcast, and he says, I went on the show because I knew it was going to be funny, and people found it funny. Even the people that don't like me found it funny. No, let's straighten this out. Nobody found it funny. Nobody. It wasn't even remotely funny. Now, Hamed, he's never going to come back to this show. That's the last you're going to hear of him on the show. He had to sneak in the way he probably snuck into England. And that's the only way he's gonna be back here, if he sneaks in here behind enemy lines. It's not gonna happen anymore.
People thought it was funny, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm trolling" or something. It's like, man, what the hell? Why do you want to come back?
Bucho, the guy, he tries to reframe things into his own world so that he tries to look different. No, he tries to pit people against each other. He talks bad about the show, talks bad about people. And behind the scenes, and then when he's in front of them, he tries to no, I never said that. Yeah, he's an all-around scumbag. I've said it before. And Cameron, he said that he invited him because he thought it was going to be funny. I think that's what I heard him say in his podcast, which I think he took down too, by the way. I don't know why he took it down, but that to me, look, you want to act out on the show, because I think last time Cameron was on, I wasn't here, but I think he was insulting a whole bunch of people for no reason. I think he was insulting corruption in boxing. I think he got into it with Stu. I think he just he cracked. He's talked about it before that he has emotional issues. That to me, I can understand that. What I can't understand is him bringing Hamed. That to me is unacceptable. All right? That's the worst thing you can do on the show. Bring that guy, give that guy a link to the show.
Very volatile. When you...
That's why I got upset with Cameron. A few things that he's done that was a bit out of line. So that's why I called him a whiny little bitch. That's the reason. I mean,
when you work on the impulses, come on.
Yeah, does that mean I don't like the guy? He just done a few ratty things that I don't like, and that's why I said what I said.
Well, he's got his own show now. He said he's going to be doing his own show now, and he's only going to be doing his own show. So, hey, wish him the best of luck. I don't know what happened. I don't know why he felt like he needed to bring in Hamed under the radar. But that's what he did.
Hey, who the hell talks to Hamed? Like, this guy's insane.
Oh, that's the thing. That's a good point.
Stay in contact with this crazy fuck.
That's a good point, Bucho, because let me tell you something. I hope it doesn't happen. But Cameron, if you keep Hamed around, he's going to try to do the same thing he did with us. He's going to start trying to control the show. He's going to try to take over it, tell you who you can and can't have on. I'm just warning you, Cameron. That's what he's going to do.
Fucking 10 minutes non-stop.
Yeah.
That's going to be good for his show.
Azzy in the chat room says, who the fuck is Hamed? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is if nobody knows if you're relatively new to the show, or if you missed this saga, you're not going to get exactly what we're talking about. But that was just, Bucho asked me my opinion. That's my opinion. And I don't like Hamed. Don't like him. Cameron I have no problem with, except for what he did by bringing Hamed in. But the Hamed, no way. I don't want any equivocations here. Miscommunication, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Don't want him on the show. Uncle Burnt Apostrophe says, bring back El Dude. El Dude is busy, I think he said. He's in university. I don't know if he's a graduate, undergraduate, but I know he said that he's in school, so yeah, I wish he comes back, because I want to hear his thoughts on Crawford versus Benavidez, although he did a video on it, so check out his channel for that. All right, guys. Then we're going to wrap it up. Anybody have any last words regarding anything? No? Going once, going twice?
No, nada.
No?
Hey, people, don't forget to check out our second channel, BDA Live. I'm posting more content there, so check it out. BDA Live.
That's right. BDA Live. And, oh, by the way, Bucho, last thing. You know, there's the guy called, the YouTuber, what's his name? Boxing Archives and Facts. He used to be called Bomb Stealing Wi-Fi. He's been on the chat a couple of times. He seems to, I think he likes the show. But he was going after Ring IQ. What's his name? Ring IQ Boxing Talk. We had him on when he debated Precise, and it was a very good event. People loved it. He brought out, he brought out his crowd. He's got a lot of admirers. Precise brought in his admirers, and we had a good debate. So I don't understand why this Bomb Stealing Wi-Fi is going after him. And I think who else was he going after? He was going after somebody else. I think Lopez went after Ring IQ Boxing Talk too. So there's a lot of drama all around.
Well, Hamed was debating Ring IQ Boxing, and it's so funny because Hamed was a fan of Boxing Ring IQ for a while. Like, he was in the chat all the time after he was kicked out from this show. And then all of a sudden he starts debating the guy. So this, just another thing, Hamed can't be in a. He just is confrontational. He's not liked. Wherever he goes, he's not liked. So he's constantly on the move, and God knows, he's trying to come back over here. I mean, that's not going to happen.
But that's the thing. He wanted Lopez out of the show. Remember that? He wanted Lopez off the show. And then once Lopez was out, and then when he was out, what's his name? Hamed. No, even before that, once Lopez was out, and then fucking Hamed goes to Lopez's podcast. And so I asked Hamed straight up. I said, wait a minute, you said... No, somebody in the chat room, I never asked him, I think, but somebody in the chat room said, why the fuck did you go to his show after you had him banned? And he goes, oh, I'm not the guy listening to his show. No, but you went to his show. Like, it makes no sense. These guys, listen, that's what I'm saying. Hamed is fucked in the head. So don't take what he says with a grain of salt. All right, hold on a second. What's going on here? Oh, Recognize dropped off. Yeah, that's the thing. I called him and then he dropped off again. I want to hear from Recognize just before we go. See what he's got to say. But yeah, listen, we do this show for fun. I hate this fucking internet drama. So the mere fact that I have to bring this up is ridiculous. All right, Boxing Style. Recognize the Matrix. We do have to go, but what?
Oh, sorry about that. I dropped off.
Yeah, you did drop off. What's going on?
No, I went to go look at that the reporter that was interviewing Manny Pacquiao.
Oh.
When I got excited and I ended up hanging up on you.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, you needed both hands, right?
Yeah.
Corruption in Boxing is asking, have I missed the show? Yeah, unfortunately. Oh, you know what? I'll bring. Can I bring
in a good video, man?
Was that?
Corruption in Boxing is.
What about him?
He made a good video about how Billy Joe Saunders was set up. He was framed.
Yeah, it was Corruption of Boxing does a lot of good fucking videos, but I checked it out.
I actually that myself for the last few days. I didn't want to say because I thought people think I was just sticking up for a drug cheat, but I've been thinking that myself. This Eddie Hearn seemed relieved that fight got cancelled. Couldn't wait to get the bump in place. Couldn't wait to get to a play. And like I said, just I think Eddie Hearn did a wrong on Billy Joe Saunders. I tell you what, if Billy Joe Saunders was with Eddie Hearn, that fight would have gone ahead. I still think he had something to do with it. I think Corruption in Boxing's right.
Well, we do have to go, but I sent Corruption the invite just so maybe last 5 minutes if he can condense it. Then again, go to his channel, Corruption in Boxing, and check his video out. I don't know if he's going to come on. I sent him the invite. But yeah, so just if he can condense.
Yeah.
I think he's going to do it. But yeah, man, I mean, this whole thing, look, when it comes to tests in boxing and all that, blood tests, it's pretty weird, man. It would surprise me if somebody gets framed, somebody doesn't get framed. I think we can all agree that Oh, okay. By the way, Uncle Burnt Apostrophe says, record for shortest BDA podcast? No, it's 2 hours. How long do you want this to be? We all have things to do. We got to go. Okay, corruption in boxing is in, and I want to get his thoughts, just if he can do it real quick. But first,
I'm very happy I placed a large bet as well, just to prove that word is bond. So who's standing tall now, you little motherfuckers?
All right. Corruption, thank you for being on. We only have a couple of minutes, so I'm going to advise people to go check out your channel so that they can check out the video and get all the details. But can you just give us a little synopsis, a little taste of what we can see in that video?
Hey, gents. Yeah, it was just a really short video, because, you know, just I felt the way Saunders, the whole situation, I thought it was quite a convoluted conspiracy to sort of relieve the belt of him and simply put it on Andrade. You know, Victor Conte's involvement for me was, people just place too much emphasis on what he's saying, but the guy had a bit of he obviously had a conflict of interest, but he's got no credibility. You've got to look at his past and the fact that he personally he financially sponsored, you know, the drug testing as well. So I felt people are playing too much emphasis on him. They don't really understand the protocols. You know, Saunders simply took ephedrine nasal drops. Now, ephedrine nasal drops, you know, they contain trace elements of drug, but the amounts in these A tests are so low, they are consistent with the decongestion. But to the amounts that Victor Conte was exaggerating, which is totally false. They have no anabolic properties whatsoever. Of course, they open up the passages to allow a guy to breathe, for fuck's sakes. I mean, he's got a flu, so he's trying to train. He's got an impending fight. So that's pretty much it, BDA. It was just really, you know, I just thought too many people have jumped the gun. You know, they're probably thinking that Billy Joe is just pissing around, too many antics outside the ring. They felt there was veracity in those allegations. To me, I think it was a total load of garbage. Massachusetts have got no drug testing, so they pretty much, you know, they pretty much allow any fighters to organize their own. But Saunders' drug testing was done by UCAD. I looked at their protocols and they're perfectly fine. You know, He'd even been taking the drops 8 weeks before, so they was all authorized. It was submitted, all of his documents, to UCAD, and UCAD actually forwarded those to Vargas. So Vargas knew what he was taking from the outside. So it's all a load of bullshit.
I posted your video on Twitter, and somebody wrote, "No way was he framed." He said, "No way was he framed. It simply boils down to rules you signed up, and you did not follow." Nasal spray with I cannot pronounce this word, oxylofrin. Nasal spray with oxylofrin is not easy to obtain. You have to look for it. Sprays usually contain saline, salt water, which does a decent job to unblock your nose.
Butcher, it is available. That's the problem. Oxylofrin is a licensed drug in the UK, but it isn't in the United States. So,
and that's also in Flonase. My daughter has allergy problems, and that's why I found your video very interesting. I thought it was great, but I know a little bit. About that because it's Flonase is over the counter. I could just buy that. I could go into any store and buy it. That's why I don't need a prescription to buy Flonase, and it has some of the ingredients, some of the stuff that was in what Billy Joe Saunders took. So
okay, so
the amounts that will allow a human being that'll create the amount of stimulant so that a fighter, you know, has the capacity to lose weight. That amount, you need approximately about 60 milliliters every week. That much consumption in the liquid form to have any sort of effects.
There's no way.
Because that's what Victor Conte said. I mean, you know, he didn't specify the amount that Saunders would have needed to take, but he just basically said that, he was overusing it.
If you look at the amounts, you know, the amounts of oxylofrin within within the decongestant, within an ephedrine sort of stimulant, you're talking about, you're talking about a picogram per milliliter. So trace amounts. And how much can a man actually snort up his nose to have any sort of effect of allowing him to increase his stamina to the extent that Conte seems to think he's going to be losing weight? The guy will be snorting more than what Tony Montana was snorting. So,
I mean, what made Varda God's word? I mean, we're talking about an organisation that turned a blind eye to Floyd Mayweather doing all sorts. So why should we trust these fucking guys? All it takes.
That USADA. That was USADA.
Yeah, it was USADA.
Yeah, USADA. But Varda is. I don't think they're as clean.
So didn't Floyd sign up to Varda? Didn't Floyd sign up?
No. What happened was with the case you're talking about, that was USADA. Yeah, that was USADA was.
Well, who's running Varda though? Who? I mean,
Varda. I don't know if her first name is Amy, but I know her last name is Goodman.
Margaret. Dr. Margaret Goodman.
Good friends with Victor Conte.
Yeah. Remember, Victor Conte's claim to fame was Balco. Balco was about creating drugs that cannot be tested for, how to beat a test. And like stuff that couldn't be at that present time, couldn't be tested for, and how to beat drug testing. He makes no bones about it. He tells you, he says it in interviews. That's his specialty. And of course, he knows how to catch people because obviously he's been involved in the game, and he knows what methods they would do to beat drug testing.
Yeah, but do you think there's a possibility that you could slip these guys a few quid to turn a blind eye?
Of course. I mean, we've seen it already.
Yeah, this is what I was trying to
say. Floyd Mayweather was exactly that. That's the case with Floyd Mayweather was exactly that. He got busted. If you believe the story, right? If you're going to take the story at face value, he gets caught by a DOC, right? DOC stands for Drug Officer Collector. They catch him in the act doing a illegal procedure. Right there, he should have been suspended.
Yeah, exactly. So I just think these guys can be bought. I've always been suspicious on Deontay Wilder always passing these drug tests, yet his opponents always sort of fouling. I mean, I'm not saying there's a conspiracy here, but I've always been suspicious about it, and that's definitely one that should be looked into because I don't care what anyone says. I think he's on steroids, but yet he's passing these tests. Yeah, people are getting popped left, right, and centre. Anyone that wants to fight Wilder, they best keep away from fucking any sort of chemist. Do you know what I mean? They better just stay at home and eat natural foods because the likelihood is you're going to get fucking busted. I reckon there's been a setup. I think Povetkin was set up, but that's just me being a conspiracy theory.
Let me ask you guys something. Maybe I don't know if you guys would know. Maybe Corruption would know. Why did Canelo get busted? Did they do that testing earlier than expected?
The WBC had some connections. And
did they start it early? Did they start the testing earlier than expected from the fight that was supposed to happen in Cinco de Mayo?
Yeah, because in fact, usually the testing is starting the same time the training camps usually start, which is about 8 weeks before the fight. And this one started 12. In fact, it was Abel Sanchez who asked for the testing to start 12 weeks before the fight.
Okay.
I also recognize, I've got a friend who's a boxing journalist who lives in San Diego, very close to Alvarez, and we know he's got an exclusive sort of gated property in San Diego, and what she advised me was that Alvarez's training camps are almost always in San Diego, but for this particular training camp he was in Mexico, and that's where VADA officials went to obtain urine samples, so he was surprised.
Strange, right?
Yeah.
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 And this was at Abel Sanchez. That was at his request. He asked for the testing to start earlier, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so it kind of just caught Canelo off guard.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I was thinking maybe there was something more to it, but if that's what happened, then they just caught him. You see, that's why, the drug testing thing, I don't stand by it. I don't say, well, because such and such never tested positive, therefore he's just totally clean. There's ways to beat these testings. It's pointless. Is my point. There's examples already, for me at least, that I look at and I say, nah, these tests are pointless. They're not. VADA, I would say one thing about VADA sanctioned or not sanctioned. They participated in a fight where one guy was drug tested by them, the other wasn't. That's Bernard Hopkins versus Joe Smith Jr. That's all you need to know.
Name the last American McLean. You're telling me all of McLean. Name the last American fight they busted. You're telling me Errol Spence is not on PEDs.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm not having it.
I mean, that's a great point. That's why Al Heyman specifically registered with USADA to conduct all of the testing. And we know USADA's reputation both in cycling, in track and field, and in American sports. But if you carefully look at USADA's compliance statement and their protocols, they don't do any carbon isotope testing, which is the most sensitive form of testing. All of the Swiss laboratories and all of the German laboratories, which are the highest sort of caliber of testing, that they very much pioneered. But also, and it's quite crucial, USADA don't have any legal obligation to submit comprehensive drug testing to any state athletic commission. They can actually send a redacted file. That's legally in their documents. Now, how ridiculous is that? So they don't have to give full testing. They can just send pretty much whatever they want, and they're not legally accountable for that.
Jesus, I mean...
So they can fabricate and That's exactly what they've been doing. And it's fucked up.
It's all falling into place now. It's all fallen. It's just, I'm actually glad we brought this topic up before we called it a day, because I don't usually like talking about steroids, but this is more like a corruption in boxing than steroids, and this is where we're going. And like I said before, a lot of these American their fighters, their opponents are getting busted for stupidness. Yet these guys are just clean up that these guys are not cheating. I've seen the effects on some of these guys. I've seen they look padded up to their eyeballs, yet they're passing these tests with flying colours.
Yeah.
I just smell a rat.
Yeah, something's fishy here. Something's fishy. Steroid fish, if you ask me. I mean, actually, that makes no sense. They don't inject fish with steroids. But look, Corruption, I too am glad that we brought you in here. And don't forget to check out Corruption in Corruption in Boxing's video. I imagine he goes into much more detail in there. Bucho put the link in the chat room and probably in the description
as well of the video,
and in the description
stream.
BDA, right. It was only a 5-minute video. It's the shortest video I've ever done, and it's actually turned out to be one of the better ones. So,
well, there you go. Thanks for being on. Also, don't forget to check out. We're talking about channels. Check out Recognize the Matrix channel, and every once in a while. What's that?
Thank you, sir.
Oh, of course, no, absolutely. And when are you gonna have X back on, or is he banned from your channel?
I don't know. I heard rumors about something happened to X. I'm not. I'll get back to you on that. But I heard something might have happened to him.
More drama, more outside. I'm not surprised.
He's got beef with a guy named Hector, and Hector just came out of jail. And
sure, I know Hector. He's good people.
Yeah, Hector and him go way back, and stay tuned.
Didn't they call Hector El Watusi back in the neighborhood?
They call him a lot of things.
Oh, all right. Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that next episode. I also want to thank Boxing Rifle. No, hold on a second. What's his? Yeah, Battle Rifle. He was here earlier as well. Shout out to him. Of course, Official Boxing Scorecards, Stu, and Corruption in Boxing, who came along here to clear this up for us. We should do one episode just based on PEDs, because I know people don't really like it when we get into it because it's too much detail. But if anybody's interested, we could do one with if Precise is available and give us some news on that. That would be a good show. So again, thank you, gentlemen, for coming in. We covered a lot of ground, a lot of boxing fights, and a couple of non-boxing tidbits for everybody. We talked about how Stu and Recognize don't like sleeping naked. We talked about Stu. We had a little miscommunication with Stu. We thought he said he didn't like females because we heard him said, "I don't like females." But of course, he just got cut off. He's not Elton John. He's not, he's not pretending to be married, but actually living in the closet. Stu, you don't dress like Elton John, right? With the glasses and everything.
Oh, those sunglasses, like shaped like stars.
I fucking dress no like Elton John.
I think
All right.
Stu wants a piano for Christmas.
Yes. Hey, did Elton John and Liberace ever like fuck on top of a piano or something?
For God's sake,
man.
I don't know, man.
All right, I'm just asking. Just asking. All right, so gentlemen, thank you for being on the show. Really appreciate it,
man.
as always.
Peace, everyone.
All right.
Boys. Yes.
Have a good night.
Daniel.
Dos Vidania, yes. Thanks for joining us. I want to give a shout out to everybody that was in the chat room. Saint Brit, Guerrero de la Info, Sherpert of Sons, Uncle Burnt Apostrophe, Nino Gaggi, Quincy Pinola, Mustache Cashtash, Steven Schneider, thank you for the contribution as well. Undercover Asian as well. Pooh Dude. Who else? Boxy Style was in there as well. Shout out to Boxy Style. Hope he comes on the next show. Neto as well. Azzy. Cachnello, Give Me My Fight was here as well. The Punisher. And many more. I can't get to all of them. I can't go back to the beginning of the show. So thanks a lot, everybody. Poe Johnson. Can't forget Poe Johnson. Thanks a lot, guys, for being on. Halloween. We're gonna do that Halloween episode on the 31st. I think it's a Wednesday. So we're gonna do a Halloween episode. Not a lot of boxing. We're just gonna talk probably scary stories, paranormal, conspiracy theories, whatever. It's gonna be like a second Renaissance episode, but in
I've got a few things to talk about on that topic.
Oh, fantastic! The more the merrier. So we'll think about what you want to talk about, and we'll go into it. Or actually, if you can tell us beforehand, that way we'll do a little prep so we can add something. Because if it's a very obscure thing and we don't have anything to add, it's gonna suck. So maybe tell us via Skype what you plan, and we can do a little research. Everybody do the same thing. If you want to talk about something, send us the topic so we can research it a little bit. I also want to do a special Sopranos second Renaissance episode, just talking about the Sopranos, because I know Jimmy and Recognize wanted to talk about. I think Stu, did you ever watch the Sopranos or?
Yeah, yeah, I watched.
All right, you're cutting off.
I watched it.
You watch it? Okay, because you cut off. I could.
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, I watched it many times.
All right, fantastic. So we'll try to get that show going. Again, everybody, thank you for joining us. Air Max 90 says, good night, guys. Always nice turning in to listen to you. Oh, we love doing the show, guys. And we love doing the show with the people that are here. So thanks again. We'll see you on the next one, folks. Take care.